In the realm of transcending into the world of cultivation, Han Yi possesses an extraordinary physique that draws the envy of the sect's ancestral elder. He is subsequently arranged to become the vessel for this elder's soul. Strangely, upon this possession, Han Yi does not perish. Instead, he inherits the entirety of the elder's memories and legacy. The most bizarre twist comes when Han Yi is later possessed by an ancient demon, transforming him into a formidable ancient beast. Subsequently, he falls prey to a demonic overlord, thereby becoming a ruler of the abyss. Chapter 1. After being possessed by the ancestral elder, I surprisingly remained alive. Ha ha ha. Such a fiery constitution, only I am worthy to possess it. Boy, you must perish. Wait, what is this constitution? Could it be the soul-devouring demon flame physique? An array of aged voices reverberates through Han Yi's dreams. Awakening with a start, he sits up in alarm, his heart racing. Have I been possessed? Am I dead? He gasps, glancing around in terror, drenched in cold sweat. Before him lies an elegantly antiquated grand hall. As Han Yi's mind begins to settle, he meticulously reflects on the preceding events. It dawns on him that he is, in fact, alive. Despite his reluctance to accept this reality, he is undeniably still breathing. I am alive. Could it be that the old wretch failed in his attempt? But where am I now? This hall is not only suffused with rich spiritual energy, but also seems to burn with an expensive incense meant for tranquility. Who has brought me to this chamber? Han Yi is engulfed in confusion. As a traveler from another world, he has arrived in a realm devoted to cultivation. Han Yi had just ascended to the 7th level of body refinement and passed the outer disciple examination when he was led into a grand hall by an inner sect member. Within that hall, he entered a mystical formation. A ghostly figure, claiming to be the ancestral elder Ning Yue, lunged at him, proclaiming its intent to possess Han Yi. However, he later recalls none of this. Upon waking, he inexplicably finds himself in this room. After a moment of contemplation, he reaffirms that the elder's possession attempt was unsuccessful. Furthermore, based on his newfound memories, Han Yi realizes that it was his unique physique that saved him. Although he remains unaware of the specifics of his physique, the elder had shouted the name of a constitution before his demise, the soul-devouring Demon Flame Physique. If that is the case, things could become intriguing. At this moment, as thoughts swirl in his mind, Han Yi suddenly experiences a throbbing pain in his head. To his astonishment, he discovers a series of inexplicable memories residing within his consciousness, memories that do not belong to him. Upon careful consideration, he deduces that these memories stem from the elder Ning Yue. Thus, Han Yi begins to delve deeper into the recollections pertaining to Ning Yue, gradually forming a clearer understanding of this ancestral figure. Ning Yue, the sole elder of the Hantian sword sect to achieve the transformation stage, has spent years journeying beyond the Tianxian continent, serving as the greatest pillar of the sect. Several years ago, the venerable Ning Yue embarked on a quest into a secret realm, only to be betrayed by his beloved, leading to his untimely demise through treachery. After his death, his concubine sought to exploit a fragment of his soul, which he had left behind in the sect, in a desperate attempt to resurrect him. By fortunate chance, Han Yi was chosen as the vessel for Ning Yue's soul fragment. Thus began the extraordinary encounter in which Han Yi faced the attempt of Ning Yue to seize control. However, to Han Yi's astonishment, Ning Yue did not successfully take over his body. Instead, he completely refined Ning Yue's soul fragment. Han Yi recalled that in Ning Yue's final moments, he had cried out the words soul-devouring demonic flame body. Could it be that this was the nature of his own physique? Was it indeed his unique constitution that had allowed him to refine Ning Yue's soul fragment? Han Yi pondered in surprise. Generally, cultivators must reach the 9th stage of body refinement to test their spiritual roots and constitutions. Thus, Han Yi was unaware of his own spiritual root. However, he was certain of one thing. His constitution was indeed exceptional. Taking a deep breath, Han Yi delved into the memories inherited from Ning Yue. The venerable Ning Yue was a formidable figure at the god transformation stage. Recognized as one of the most prominent individuals in the Tianxian continent, adept in various powerful doctrines, and skilled in numerous cultivation techniques. His most revered technique was the core method of the Hantian sword sect, the Hantian sword art. It was said that when Ning Yue wielded his sword, the very heavens and earth trembled. Any ordinary cultivator sensing his sword aura would be overwhelmed and left shattered in spirit. Moreover, to Han Yi's astonishment, Ning Yue's most proficient cultivation method was a dual cultivation secret art, the Luan harmony technique. Through this memory, Han Yi realized that Ning Yue's ability to effortlessly break through various bottlenecks and attain the god transformation realm was profoundly connected to his dual cultivation practice. This revelation ignited a spark of curiosity within Han Yi. Now that he possessed Ning Yue's memories, he wondered if he might enhance his own cultivation by experimenting with the Luan harmony technique. However, This method required a partner for dual cultivation, which he lacked. In a moment of contemplation, Han Yi was utterly astonished. He discovered that Ning Yue had lived for 8 centuries and had been with no fewer than 3,000 women throughout his life, resembling a grand harem of 3,000 souls. Yet, the lifespan of cultivators is finite. Of those women, over 90% had perished throughout the annals of history. Only a handful, having reached the golden core, nascent soul, or god transformation stages, still remained alive, numbering in the dozens. Even within the Hantian sword sect, several of Ning Yue's women still resided. Taking a deep breath, Han Yi mused, "Truly, powerful cultivators are extraordinary, possessing wealth, influence, and beauty." This realization solidified his silent vow to become such a remarkable cultivator himself. As Han Yi murmured to himself, a familiar fragrance enveloped him. Yet, it was not the scent he remembered. Instead, it was a scent from the memories of the venerable Ning Yue. This aroma emanated from a woman connected to Ning Yue. Who could she be? Han Yi hurriedly searched through Ning Yue's memories. Her name was Wan Shuang, a member of the Mu family and now an elder of the inner sect. Han Yi recalled that it was a certain elder of the Golden Core stage who had brought him from the outer sect to the inner sect, leading him to a soul replacement array. Han Yi speculated that this elder was none other than Wan Shuang herself. Soon, a woman clad in a crimson dress appeared before Han Yi. This was indeed the elder Wan Shuang from Ning Yue's memories, the very person who had brought him from the outer sect to the inner sect. Han Yi was taken aback, pondering her intentions for being here. Did she believe that Ning Yue had successfully taken over? Did she think that he had become Ning Yue? As Wan Shuang approached, Han Yi could not help but gaze at her intently. He remembered that when he first encountered her in the outer sect, she wore a veil that obscured her face, and her form was shrouded in a thin mist, making her figure indistinct. Now, standing before him, she exuded far less mystery. Her hair was elegantly styled, her skin pale, and she donned a flowing red dress that accentuated her exquisite figure, embodying the very essence of a goddess, a true beauty of the mortal realm. Han Yi couldn't help but marvel at the fortune of Ning Yue. Upon seeing Wan Shuang, he felt as if he might bleed from his nose. "Ah, my lord, you have finally awakened," she exclaimed, approaching him. "I feared you had failed in your soul replacement. If that were the case, I would not wish to live. I would follow you into the afterlife." As she spoke, Wan Shuang's formidable aura as a golden core cultivator surged towards Han Yi, causing him to tremble. Being merely a 7th-level body refinement cultivator, he was ill-equipped to withstand her pressure. However, while searching through Ning Yue's memories, he had discovered a calming technique that could help a cultivator resist the oppressive force of a stronger opponent, regardless of their cultivation level. At that moment, a thought crossed Han Yi's mind, and he found that the calming technique activated spontaneously, allowing him to fend off the pressure from a golden core powerhouse with relative ease. Upon hearing Wan Shuang's words, he quickly grasped the situation. She must believe that Ning Yue had succeeded in his soul replacement and thus regarded him as Ning Yue. If that were the case, Han Yi realized he could only feign being Ning Yue. Should Wan Shuang discover the truth of Ning Yue's failure, she would likely be enraged enough to eliminate him. Han Yi steadied himself and, adopting the elderly tone of Master Ning Yue, exclaimed with indignation, "I have lived for 800 years. Is it so easy for me to perish? That wretched person who harmed me, I shall ensure her soul is extracted, her essence refined, and her body shattered into 1,000 pieces." As an esteemed elder, Master Ning Yue possessed a fiery temperament, often expressing his rage through words. Upon hearing Han Yi's declaration, Wan Shuang seemed to come to a realization and quickly advised, "My lord, although you have successfully seized control, your current cultivation level is merely at the 7th stage of body refining. It is imperative that you swiftly advance to the spirit transformation realm." "I am well aware of this." Han Yi nodded in agreement. "I am here, willing to assist you in your cultivation at any time," Wan Shuang proclaimed. "Assist me in my cultivation?" Han Yi was momentarily taken aback. "My lord, I nearly forgot. I have prepared the Phoenix Essence Refinement Pill for you. If you wish to cultivate now, I am more than willing to accompany you in refining the pill." At her words, Han Yi suddenly understood. The Phoenix Essence Refinement Pill was primarily used during dual cultivation. By employing the harmonious melody of the Phoenix, one could swiftly break through in their cultivation. However, the method of the Phoenix Essence Refinement was a dual cultivation technique that could not be performed alone. At that moment, Han Yi glanced at Wan Shuang, who gazed back at him with affectionate eyes, filled with emotion. Han Yi's heart raced as he mused, "Surely, Wan Shuang does not intend for us to engage in dual cultivation here." Feeling a surge of anxiety, he recognized Wan Shuang as a formidable golden core cultivator and the consort of Master Ning Yue. If she were to perceive any discrepancies, she could very well end his life. Han Yi was deeply apprehensive and wished to maintain a distance from Wan Shuang. Yet, faced with her earnestness. He found it difficult to refuse. My lord, rest assured, although I have not served you for quite some time. The harmonious melody of the phoenix is a technique you taught me hand in hand. I shall not forget. As she spoke, Wan Shuang gracefully settled onto the edge of the bed. Seeing her in such a manner stirred Han Yi's trepidation. To conceal his inner tension and racing pulse, he once again activated the heart-calming technique. In that moment, Wan Shuang had already shed her sheer garment, revealing her flawless, porcelain-like skin. Han Yi inhaled deeply, wondering to himself, is this what it feels like to have a stroke of luck in love? With Wan Shuang before him, he found it nearly impossible to decline her advances. Despite the considerable disparity in their cultivation levels, it would not hinder their shared practice. Thus, Han Yi unceremoniously consumed the Phoenix Essence Refinement Pill offered by Wan Shuang. At that moment, she lifted her skirt, exposing her long legs clad in sheer black stockings, and settled herself upon Han Yi's lap. This left him feeling somewhat dizzy. As he gazed at her legs, he found himself momentarily entranced. Black stockings? What is this? Is this not the realm of cultivation? How can such things exist here? Han Yi, lost in thought, discovered that the stockings were woven from a celestial technique known as spirit weaving, which possessed formidable defensive capabilities. Furthermore, the creator of these black stockings was none other than the venerable Ning Yue. Among the various celestial techniques mastered by Ning Yue, spirit weaving was his forte. He also had a penchant for nurturing various spirit silkworms. Using the ethereal silk, they spun to craft exquisite garments. This included not only these black stockings, but also an array of alluring women's lingerie. Curiously, Ning Yue enjoyed gifting the garments he fashioned to the women he cherished, leading Han Yi to ponder whether Ning Yue might also be a time traveler of a rather peculiar nature. My lord, why are you gazing at my legs? Wan Shuang inquired. Oh, it's nothing. I was merely admiring these stockings, which reminded me of the days we spent together, Han Yi replied. My lord, the ethereal stockings you wove for me have frayed in several places. I fear I shall need your assistance in mending them, Wan Shuang remarked. If they are frayed, simply discard them. Once I advance to the Qi refinement realm, I shall weave you several new pairs. Han Yi responded, mimicking Ning Yue's tone. If that is the case, then I thank you, my lord, Wan Shuang said, a hint of shyness in her voice. With that, Wan Shuang nestled back into Han Yi's embrace, playfully acting coy. This left Han Yi somewhat mesmerized and unable to extricate himself from the moment. As such, he began practicing the Luan harmonizing technique, engaging in an intimate dance with Wan Shuang, surrendering to a blissful union. Han Yi could feel the Luan body refining technique in motion, gradually refining the body refining elixir within him. He sensed a profound transformation occurring within his physique. It was astonishing to think that he, a mere practitioner of the body refinement realm, could experience such intimacy with a formidable golden core cultivator. What an extraordinary stroke of fortune. How intriguing. Truly, it was exceedingly fascinating. Han Yi advanced from the 1st to the 7th level of the body refinement realm over the span of 13 years. Now, he felt on the brink of another breakthrough. Moreover, he realized that cultivating with the Luan body refining elixir in conjunction with the Luan harmonizing technique was anything but ordinary. At this rate, he surmised that he might not require much time to reach the 8th level of body refinement, and perhaps he would soon attain the 9th. Engaged in this intimate dance, Han Yi and Wan Shuang lost track of time, and half an hour slipped by unnoticed. By this point, Han Yi had completed a full cycle of the Luan body refining technique. Wan Shuang, her cheeks flushed, remarked, My lord, I did not expect that even after your reincarnation, your vigor remains as formidable as ever. You have left me quite sore. Upon hearing this, Han Yi turned to glance at Wan Shuang. Immediately adopting Ning Yue's tone, he replied, I too did not anticipate that after such a long time, you would still possess the same allure as before. My lord, what do you mean by that? I am not alluring at all. Even if I were, I could hardly compare to those other flirtatious women, Wan Shuang retorted. Upon hearing this, Han Yi understood that the few lascivious women referred to by Wan Shuang were indeed the consorts of the other Ning Yue ancestors from the Hantian sword sect. Moreover, those women were all at the golden core level of cultivation, each serving as a pillar of the Hantian sword sect. Chapter 3. On the verge of madness. More ancestors' women are coming suddenly. Wan Shuang's brow furrowed as she exclaimed, How infuriating. Those brazen women are actually coming here. They are coming? Han Yi was taken aback, and a wave of unease washed over him. Entangled with one woman was already suffocating enough. Now several were arriving. Who could bear that? The Ning Yue ancestors and their consorts had all practiced the Phoenix and Dragon Harmony technique. Therefore, Han Yi believed he could engage in dual cultivation with Wan Shuang, as well as with the other women. However, he felt a strong sense of rejection and suffocation within. Although the Ning Yue ancestors' consorts were all enchanting beauties, Han Yi was not Ning Yue himself. If these women discovered his true identity, it would surely lead to his demise. Han Yi was far too weak. Any one of those women could easily dispatch him with a mere slap. Through the memories of the Ning Yue ancestor, Han Yi understood that most of these women were fiercely loyal to him. He couldn't help but admire the Ning Yue ancestor as a master of romance. Thus, upon reflection, if he could convincingly impersonate the Ning Yue ancestor, perhaps those women would submit to him. Yet, for dual cultivation, Han Yi would still need to seek out other partners. He had no desire to spend every day in the company of these older women, lest he reveal a flaw. Moreover, Han Yi harbored another thought, to return to the Han family. As a transmigrator, he had arrived at the small outer sect family of Han within the Consorts sect. Growing up in the Han family, he held deep affection for them. Now, as the family faced internal and external troubles, he longed to return and offer his assistance. At that moment, Wan Shuang spoke. "Husband, there is something I must tell you." "What is it?" Han Yi inquired. "Many people on the Tianxian continent are aware of your demise overseas," Wan Shuang revealed. "Is that so?" Han Yi feigned solemnity. "And our sister's intention to resurrect you may also be widely known. It is likely that the spies from the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect, infiltrated within our Consorts sect, are already stirring with intentions," Wan Shuang cautioned. At her words, Han Yi was taken aback. Realizing that the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect were sworn enemies of the Consorts sect. In the past, the Ning Yue ancestor had quelled their fears with a mere sword. Now, if they learned that Wan Shuang and the others were attempting to resurrect the Ning Yue ancestor, would they not seize the opportunity to eliminate him while he was vulnerable? Though the Ning Yue ancestor no longer existed, those factions would likely perceive Han Yi as the Ning Yue ancestor himself. Should that be the case, Han Yi would find himself in grave danger. Thus, in the future, my husband must diligently conceal his identity. You are currently merely at the body refinement stage. Should you encounter individuals from those two sects, it would likely spell trouble. Moreover, our sect is not merely infiltrated by one or two spies. It has been profoundly compromised. Profoundly compromised? Han Yi was taken aback. Indeed, within our sect, there should exist a multitude of spies from the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect, and there may be numerous peak masters and elders who have been bribed by these two sections. Your current form, as a vessel for transference, possesses limited strength. If they were to uncover your identity, it could lead to dire consequences for you, Wan Shuang remarked. In light of this, what do you think about my returning to the Han family in my current physical form? Han Yi inquired. Returning to the Han family? Wan Shuang pondered for a moment before nodding and responding. The Han family is a relatively weaker outer sect family. Should my husband go there, it could serve as a better guise to avoid scrutiny and foster your cultivation. However, the resources for cultivation in the outer sect are inferior to those in the inner sect, so if my husband wishes to grow, it may take considerably longer. Humph. Who am I? I am the sole individual in Tianxian continent to have ascended to the divine transformation realm over the past millennia. With my current temperament, regardless of where I cultivate, my progress will be swift, Han Yi declared with pride. My husband, with such aspirations, I shall personally escort you to the Han family then, Wan Shuang asserted. As Han Yi and Wan Shuang conversed, she leaned closer into his embrace. The faint fragrance emanating from her was intoxicating to Han Yi. In Wan Shuang's eyes, her man, Ning Yue, was an embodiment of greatness. He was the pride of her heart, and her life was devoted to him. It could be said that Wan Shuang harbored an exceedingly strong infatuation for Ning Yue. Naturally, Han Yi perceived this. Thus, the more she idolized him, the more Han Yi felt a twinge of unease. Should Wan Shuang discover that he was not Ning Yue, it could well lead to his demise at her hands. To be honest, I truly find it hard to part with you. I genuinely wish to spend eternity by your side, Wan Shuang confessed. Indeed, I feel the same, Han Yi replied, tenderly caressing Wan Shuang's back, which plunged her into a deep reverie of enchantment. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble, followed by a resounding noise, as if someone were assaulting the protective array at the perimeter of the peak. Wan Shuang jolted awake from this sweet reverie, her expression tinged with irritation. How vexing, she exclaimed. Could it be that those women have arrived? Han Yi speculated. You are correct, my husband. It is indeed those troublesome women, Wan Shuang confirmed. At that moment, Han Yi once again delved into his memories, recalling the women associated with Ning Yue in the Consorts sect. He discovered that Ning Yue had charmed at least 100 women during his time in the Consorts sect. Over the past 3 centuries, Ning Yue had been traveling the world, leading to the demise of most of his companions within the sect, leaving no more than 10 remaining. At this moment, Wan Shuang had already risen to her feet and swiftly made her way out of the grand hall. Observing this turn of events, Han Yi found himself in a state of inner turmoil. Unlike the venerable Ning Yue, Han Yi had merely feigned the identity of the elder to deceive Wan Shuang. Despite having shared an intimate night with her, he had ultimately only managed to deceive her. Should he encounter any other women linked to Ning Yue, the outcome was uncertain. If they detected the ruse and realized that Han Yi was not the true elder, it would not only spell doom for him, but could also jeopardize the safety of the Han family. One must understand that the wrath of these formidable golden core cultivators was not something to be trifled with. Thus, amidst a flurry of thoughts, Han Yi's heart was heavy with conflict. Before long, he heard the sounds of commotion outside the hall, predominantly female voices. Through the memories of Ning Yue, he discerned the identities of these women. Alongside Wan Shuang, there were 4 in total. Each of these women, Wan Shuang included, was renowned within the Hantian sword sect. They were Wan Shuang of the Mu family, Qin Huizhu of the Qin family, Cheng Jingwen of the Cheng family, and Lu Jiejia of the Lu family. Each of these families was a prominent intersect lineage within the Hantian sword sect, each boasting a golden core powerhouse as their protector. The 4 women before him were all golden core cultivators, holding significant influence within their respective families. Chapter 4. The true purpose of their arrival as Han Yi. Since the approach of these women, he felt a wave of suffocation wash over him. Though he had successfully impersonated Ning Yue in front of Wan Shuang without revealing any flaws, he was uncertain whether he could maintain the charade before the other women. However, he found himself with little choice. These women were all connected to Ning Yue, having been deeply cherished by him in life and holding affections for him. They had all been complicit in the matter of his soul transference. Therefore, with Han Yi's awakening, it was only natural that they would come to see him. Soon, under Wan Shuang's guidance, the women entered the grand hall. Upon seeing the 3 women, Han Yi's heart raced wildly. Like Wan Shuang, they appeared as ethereal beings descended from the heavens. Biting his lip, he silently mused. That old coot Ning Yue truly had an abundance of romantic fortune. But now that you are gone, this fortune shall be mine. In no time, the 3 women approached Han Yi, bowing respectfully and addressing him as husband. Han Yi regarded the trio, recognizing each of them distinctly. Nodding, he assumed the voice of Ning Yue and spoke, "My beloved concubines, I have encountered a misfortune and was compelled to undergo soul transference to be reborn. Though I have returned to life, my cultivation remains shallow. I fear I shall require your kind care." Wan Shuang stepped forward and said, "My husband, rest assured, your matters are also our sister's concerns. Together, we shall assist you in reclaiming your life and help you return to the realm of transformation. However, at this moment, the sect is peerless, and you must protect yourself diligently." Upon hearing this, Han Yi nodded and replied, "Wan Shuang, with your words, I feel reassured." He then turned his gaze toward the other 3 women and inquired, "Is Wan Shuang's sentiment shared by you all?" The 3 women nodded in agreement. Qin Huizhu from the Qin family said, "My husband, do not worry. Our Qin family specializes in alchemy. If you require any elixirs, feel free to seek me out." Cheng Jingwen from the Cheng family added, "My husband, rest easy. Our Cheng family is adept at weapon forging. Should you need any arms, do not hesitate to come to me." Lu Jiejia from the Lu family chimed in, "My husband, be at ease. Our Lu family excels in talisman crafting. If you seek any talismans, you may certainly approach me." Han Yi then surveyed Qin Huizhu, Cheng Jingwen, and Lu Jiejia. The trio possessed enchanting figures, with lithe waists and graceful curves, their fair skin exuding an irresistible charm. Each woman was distinct in her allure. Qin Huizhu appeared somewhat enchanting and seductive. Cheng Jingwen radiated an aura of intellect and grace, while Lu Jiejia seemed playful and adorable. Han Yi, already captivated by Wan Shuang's beauty, found himself further entranced by the arrival of these 3. He keenly observed them, noticing their smiles directed at him, which hinted at their desires. It seemed they too wished to share an intimate connection with him, akin to Wan Shuang. However, Han Yi remained silent, while the 3 women exhibited remarkable restraint. At this moment, Wan Shuang spoke again, "My husband, during your soul division, it must have drained your energy. Our sisters seldom have the chance to see you. And now that you have successfully reclaimed your life, we have many questions to pose." "Questions?" Han Yi was taken aback. "My husband is extraordinarily talented. Not only is his cultivation unparalleled, but his mastery of various celestial techniques is also profound. For instance, our Mu family's beast taming has many facets that require your guidance." Wan Shuang continued, "My husband, our Qin family also has numerous alchemical inquiries that need addressing." Qin Huizhu added, "My husband, our Cheng family has several issues related to weapon forging that require your expertise." Cheng Jingwen said, "My husband, our Lu family also has many talisman crafting matters that need your resolution." Lu Jiejia concluded. Upon hearing this, Han Yi was once again astonished. He delved into the memories of Ancestor Ning Yue and discovered that indeed, The ancestor was not only skilled in cultivation, but also proficient in a myriad of celestial techniques. Whether it was alchemy, weapon forging, talisman crafting, beast taming, array formation, puppet manipulation, insect taming, poison breeding, soul guiding, spiritual weaving, or spiritual construction, he was well versed in all. Han Yi was left utterly amazed. In the realm of immortal cultivation, an ordinary cultivator can achieve mastery in only one or two aspects. However, the esteemed Elder Ning Yue flourished in multiple areas, making him a true polymath. This inspired Han Yi with a desire. If he could become a polymath in this world of cultivation, he would undoubtedly earn the admiration of many. Clearly, Han Yi had acquired the memories of Elder Ning Yue, which equated to inheriting his legacy. It should not be overly difficult for Han Yi to achieve this. Perhaps, with the memories of Elder Ning Yue, Han Yi would find himself adept in alchemy, artifact forging, and other disciplines. Of course, Han Yi was currently only at the body refinement stage, which did not yet signify his entry into the path of immortal cultivation. To wield various celestial techniques, he would need to at least advance to the third layer of the Qi refinement stage. Thus, it was still premature for him to consider such matters. At this juncture, Han Yi cast his gaze over Wan Shuang and the other three women, who were all looking at him with expressions imbued with desire. It dawned on him that their techniques in beast taming, alchemy, artifact forging, and talisman crafting were all imparted to them by Elder Ning Yue. One could say that Elder Ning Yue was not only their partner, but also their master in skills. Whenever they encountered difficulties in their crafts, they would seek Elder Ning Yue for guidance. Years prior, Elder Ning Yue had perished in a secret realm overseas, leaving only a fragment of his soul within the sword sect of Trembling Heavens. Although they had many questions they wished to pose to Elder Ning Yue, they refrained from visiting him again to prevent exhausting the power of his soul fragment. Now that Elder Ning Yue had taken over a new body, they naturally wished to clarify the questions that had accumulated over time. However, they remained unaware that Elder Ning Yue's reincarnation had not been successful. What stood before them was merely a young man who had just turned 20. Seeing the four women harboring thoughts of inquiry, Han Yi felt a twinge of concern. If they were to ask him questions to which he could not respond, it might reveal his true identity. Nevertheless, upon reflection, he felt reassured. With the memories of Elder Ning Yue, he possessed a wealth of knowledge. As he attuned himself to his own abilities, he realized that while he could not yet manipulate various celestial techniques, his understanding of them was exceptionally profound. Han Yi was confident that he could answer any questions posed by the four women. Chapter 5. Fortunately, Elder Ning Yue's memories were intact. Recognizing the richness of his own knowledge, Han Yi unabashedly declared, "Ladies, feel free to ask any questions you may have. I assure you, all that I know will be shared without reservation." Upon hearing Han Yi's words, the four women immediately began their inquiries without hesitation. Wan Shuang was the first to step forward, asking, "Husband, our Mu family has recently captured a Mo Lin beast. Although it possesses taming potential, we have been unable to subdue it despite our best efforts, resulting in the loss of many lives within our family. Do you have any methods to tame this Mo Lin beast?" At this, Han Yi could not help but reflect on the nature of the challenges faced by prominent families. Indeed, their problems were anything but ordinary. Although Han Yi lacks knowledge in beast taming, he possesses the memories of the venerable Elder Ning Yue. Thus, the path of beast taming is not a daunting task for him. Although Wan Shuang's question is rather intricate, it does not pose a challenge for Han Yi. The Mo Lin beast is notoriously wild and difficult to tame, yet there are numerous methods to achieve its domestication. Han Yi remarked, "Are there indeed several methods?" Wan Shuang inquired. "At least I am aware of 3 techniques," Han Yi replied. "The first is the celestial sound method, which utilizes ethereal melodies to cleanse the primal nature of the Mo Lin beast. I once acquired a celestial score overseas that can facilitate its taming. The second is the reawakening of intelligence method, which involves setting up a formation to suppress the Mo Lin beast, erasing its intelligence, and then refining an awakening beast pill to restore its cognitive abilities. Once its intelligence develops, it will naturally become tame. The third method is the medicinal cleansing technique, which entails refining a soul-washing beast pill to continuously purify the beast's soul, rendering it gentle and compliant." Han Yi elaborated on the detailed procedures for these 3 methods. In that moment, both Wan Shuang and her companions, Qin Huizhu, Cheng Jingwen, and Lu Jiejia, gazed at Han Yi with admiration. "Thank you for your guidance, my husband," Wan Shuang said, looking at Han Yi. At that moment, Qin Huizhu stepped forward and remarked, "Truly, my husband is a polymath," effortlessly assisting Wan Shuang in resolving her dilemma. "Huizhu, do you have a question?" Han Yi asked. "Indeed, our family faces numerous challenges. Yet the most pressing issue concerns the Xingyue gathering qi pill that we have been refining for the past 2 years," Qin Huizhu stated. "If I recall correctly, the formula for your Qin family's Xingyue gathering qi pill was provided by me." Han Yi noted. That is correct, my husband. Our rise within the inner sect was indeed facilitated by the formulas you provided. Without your assistance, the Qin family would not be where it is today. However, the Qin family, lack your extraordinary talent in alchemy, leading to inevitable errors during the refinement process. Qin Huizhu explained. Well then, tell me, what issues have arisen with the Ning Yue gathering qi pill? Han Yi inquired. In the past, we were able to refine high-quality Ning Yue gathering qi pills using the methods you provided, but now the quality has significantly declined. And we have produced a number of defective pills, which has tarnished our family's reputation, Qin Huizhu lamented. If memory serves, the formula I provided included not only the Ning Yue gathering qi pill, but also the Ning Yue blood gathering pill, the Ning Yue qi inducing pill, and the Ning Yue foundation establishing pill, among others. Han Yi observed. You are correct, my husband. We have encountered considerable issues with the refinement of the other Ning Yue pills as well. Qin Huizhu admitted. The Ning Yue pills are crafted from the essence of the celestial bodies, with the core ingredient being the star dye grass. If there is a problem with the star dye grass, it follows that the pills will also be flawed, Han Yi stated earnestly. My husband, we cultivate the star dye grass according to the methods you taught us. However, the star dye grass we have grown is abundant in spiritual energy and appears to be flawless. Qin Huizhu asserted. The issue with the star dyeing grass is not easily discernible. You may wish to consult an array master to examine the star moon spirit array above the cultivation base. If there is a problem with the array, the star dyeing grass will undoubtedly suffer, Han Yi explained. Upon hearing this, Qin Huizhu furrowed her brow, suddenly enlightened. My husband, I understand now. I shall return immediately to have the star moon spirit array inspected. In response to Qin Huizhu's inquiry, Han Yi recalled a wealth of information from the memories of the esteemed Ancestor Ning Yue, renowned for his exceptional talents and mastery of various celestial techniques. Ancestor Ning Yue had once guided the Qin family, leading to the establishment of their Star Moon Pill Workshop. Today, this workshop flourishes across the entire Tianxian continent, yielding substantial profits for the Qin family. It is fair to say that Ancestor Ning Yue is their benefactor. Without him, the Qin family as it exists today would not have come to fruition. Similarly, other prominent families have thrived under his influence. The Mu family, to which Wan Shuang belongs, boasts the largest spirit beast ranch, the Showdown Ranch, thanks to Ancestor Ning Yue's importation of the beast taming technique. Their reputation for selling various spirit beasts has spread throughout the Tianxian continent. The Cheng and Lu families have also benefited from Ancestor Ning Yue's teachings, with the Cheng family's iron-blooded divine weapon pavilion and the Lu family's wind and cloud divine talisman pavilion flourishing as a result of the iron-blooded refining technique and the wind and cloud talisman crafting technique, respectively. It is evident that the women of Ancestor Ning Yue are wholeheartedly devoted to him, as he has brought them great prosperity. However, despite their newfound wealth, the Mu, Qin, Cheng, and Lu families possess limited capabilities in mastering celestial techniques. Consequently, whenever they encounter issues, they find themselves unable to resolve them promptly and must seek Ancestor Ning Yue's counsel. Yet, he has been traveling abroad for many years, leading to a backlog of problems among the prominent families. Wan Shuang and Qin Huizhu posed significant questions, prompting Cheng Jingwen and Lu Jejia to also inquire about matters with Han Yi. He patiently addressed their queries and provided numerous solutions. However, the questioning did not cease there. Wan Shuang and Qin Huizhu continued to seek Han Yi's insights. This exchange persisted, and before long, an entire day had passed. Eventually, the four women's questions were all addressed. Han Yi sighed, realizing that with Ancestor Ning Yue's memories, he was on the path to becoming a polymath. He felt a sense of gratitude for possessing these memories, allowing him to impersonate Ancestor Ning Yue without revealing any flaws. This role had become somewhat addictive for Han Yi. In his previous life, he had been a reclusive individual, devoid of romantic experiences, never having even held a girl's hand. He envied those affluent and handsome men who were surrounded by beautiful women. However, today, Han Yi has evidently transformed into a handsome and affluent figure, surrounded by a throng of beautiful women. What brings him the greatest pride is the unwavering admiration these women have for him. Consequently, Han Yi's mindset has undergone a significant transformation. Previously, he was apprehensive about exposing his true identity and preferred to maintain a distance from these women. Now, he yearns to spend each day in their enchanting company. Chapter 6. Preparing to depart. The beauties present various treasures after addressing the inquiries of the ladies. A warm and inviting atmosphere enveloped the grand hall. Han Yi began to engage in profound conversations with the beautiful women, losing himself in the moment. He seemed to forget that he was not the revered Ning Yue, but rather an ordinary cultivator. Unbeknownst to him, he had spent 5 days within this grand hall. Through the use of the Phoenix Essence Refinement Pill, he had elevated his cultivation to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, which filled him with exhilaration. Han Yi was astounded to discover that the harmonious technique of the phoenix had such remarkable effects on his cultivation. In just 5 days, he had ascended to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Of course, Han Yi understood that his advancement was not solely attributed to the dual cultivation technique, but also to the memories of Ning Yue. These memories allowed him to break through cultivation barriers without any hindrance. He vaguely sensed that with a spirit attraction pill, he could effortlessly draw in spiritual energy and enter the Qi refinement realm. My dear husband, you have reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm and can now draw in spiritual energy to step into the Qi refinement realm. Wan Shuang exclaimed. Indeed, I owe much to the support of my beloved wives during these past few days, Han Yi replied. My husband, you flatter us. We are all your women, and it is our duty to assist you in any way, Wan Shuang said. Wan Shuang, rest assured that once I have restored my strength, I will treat you well, Han Yi promised. However, my husband, do you remember what I mentioned to you previously? Wan Shuang inquired. What matter? Han Yi asked. Currently, our Hantian sword sect is severely infiltrated by the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect. We are concerned that your close interactions with us may attract the attention of our enemies, potentially leading to unforeseen dangers for you. Therefore, for a while, we sisters will maintain a certain distance from you until the day you attain a cultivation level above the Golden Core realm, Wan Shuang explained. Upon hearing this, Han Yi nodded thoughtfully. Ning Yue had once elevated the Hantian sword sect to one of the foremost sects in the Tianxian continent. Now, with the news of Ning Yue's demise circulating, the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect were poised to act, harboring intentions to usurp the Hantian sword sect. Moreover, these two sects were aware of Ning Yue's reincarnation, which meant their spies within the Hantian sword sect were eager to uncover any news regarding him. If Han Yi were to grow too intimate with Wan Shuang and the others, it would be easy for the members of the two sects to identify him as Ning Yue. This could lead to grave consequences for Han Yi. Thus, he knew he had to distance himself from Wan Shuang and the others, which left him with a heavy heart. Initially, I believed I had encountered a stroke of fortune, yet this fortune proved to be fleeting. However, once Han Yi elevates his cultivation to a certain level, engaging in profound exchanges with these enchanting women will not present a formidable challenge. At this moment, Han Yi also contemplated his family. His lineage, a modest outer sect family, had long been subjected to oppression from other clans. Although Han Yi is a time traveler, he grew up within this family and harbors genuine affection for them. Thus, the desire to return to his family lingered in his heart. As for the future cultivation of the Luanfeng harmony technique, Han Yi would have to seek out other women to practice alongside him. Wan Shuang, you were right. I must indeed depart. I cannot allow my illustrious reputation to be tarnished by the nefarious hands of the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect, Han Yi declared, preparing to leave, evoking a sense of reluctance in Wan Shuang. At that moment, Qin Huizhu entered the grand hall. Wan Shuang, what troubles you? Qin Huizhu inquired. Huizhu, the situation within our sect is far from optimistic. There are numerous spies among us, and several elders have already been bribed by the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect, particularly Elder He from the He family, who is seeking information about my husband. Currently, my husband is merely at the 9th level of body refinement. If they discover him, there is no telling what calamity may befall him. Wan Shuang explained. What do you propose we do? Qin Huizhu asked. My husband's body originates from the Han family, and I believe the best course of action is for him to return there. This way, no one will be able to locate him, Wan Shuang suggested. That is indeed a sound plan, but does that mean we will be unable to see our husband in the future? Qin Huizhu responded. Since the Qijiao sect and the Ning Yue sect are aware that we are our husband's women, we must avoid meeting him to prevent bringing him trouble. Wan Shuang articulated. Very well, if that is the case, we shall wait for our husband to grow stronger, Qin Huizhu agreed. With my husband's reincarnation and rebirth, he will undoubtedly encounter no obstacles in breaking through his cultivation and will reach the Golden Core realm at the swiftest pace, Wan Shuang asserted. After their exchange, Qin Huizhu's gaze fell upon Han Yi. Dear husband, I am immensely grateful to you. Without your efforts, the reputation of the Qin family could not have been restored. Now that you have reached the 9th level of body refinement, I have prepared an energy-inducing pill and 2 Luanfeng gathering pills, hoping you can soon transcend to a higher realm, Qin Huizhu expressed. Thank you, Huizhu. Han Yi nodded appreciatively. Dear husband, you are a benefactor to the Qin family, and I am more than willing to do anything for you, Qin Huizhu replied. Given that, I shall accept your kindness, Han Yi acknowledged. Unbeknownst to them, Cheng Jingwen and Lu Jiejia had already entered the grand hall, having overheard the conversation between Wan Shuang and Qin Huizhu. Is it true that you intend to leave? Dear husband, Cheng Jingwen inquired. Indeed, I plan to depart. Once I ascend to the Golden Core realm, I shall return to reunite with all of you beautiful ladies. Han Yi affirmed. My lord, We have prepared some items for your protection, Lu Jie remarked. What items do you have? Han Yi inquired. My lord, as you possess a fire attribute constitution, I have brought you a fire dragon sword and a set of fire dragon armor. Both the sword and armor are of superior quality, perfectly suited for your entry into the Qi refinement stage, Cheng Jingwen explained. I have also brought you 10 flame explosion spirit talismans, each of which is of superior quality and highly suitable for your advancement into the Qi refinement stage. Lu Jie added. Well, I am truly grateful to both of you, Han Yi responded. At that moment, Wan Shuang gestured, and a spirit beast promptly appeared before Han Yi. This is a wind thunder steed, a second-tier 9th grade spirit beast. Although it lacks combat capabilities, it possesses remarkable speed, Wan Shuang stated. This wind thunder steed has been trained for you at my Xiaotian ranch. Should you encounter any trouble in the future, you can summon it for swift escape. Thank you. Wan Shuang, Han Yi replied, feeling a touch of embarrassment as he received these gifts from the lovely women. Han Yi thought to himself how exceptionally kind these women were to him. If only they were genuinely his companions. Unfortunately, he was not the true Ning Yue, and they merely regarded him as such. Without hesitation, he accepted Cheng Jingwen's sword and armor, along with Lu Jie's spirit talismans. This equipped Han Yi with formidable means to confront adversaries in the future. Chapter 7. Return to the Han family and the town's changes. Having received gifts from the 4 enchanting women, Han Yi boarded a luxurious flying boat under Wan Shuang's arrangements. This opulent vessel would transport him away from the inner sect to a designated location in the outer sect, where he would disembark. Soon, the flying boat set off. After about half an hour, it made a brief stop, allowing Han Yi to descend. He found himself in a small town known as Qingsang Town. This town, governed by the Han family, was a blend of both immortals and mortals. Upon arriving, Han Yi simply needed to hire a carriage to return to the Han family estate. At this moment, his foremost priority was to cultivate his Qi and enter the Qi refinement stage. Only by achieving this could he truly be considered a cultivator. As Han Yi strolled through the streets, he noticed a group of individuals rushing down the road, seemingly in pursuit of something. In the past, he would have been unable to discern their cultivation levels or strengths. However, with the memories of Ning Yue now within him, he had inherited the knowledge of his predecessor. Thus, he could readily assess the strength of these individuals. Their cultivation levels were all at the late stage of the body refinement realm. The cultivation levels of practitioners are generally divided into body refinement, Qi refinement, foundation establishment, golden core, and nascent soul stages. Each stage further divides into 9 levels, categorized as early, middle, and late phases. The first, second, and third levels pertain to the early phase, while the 4th, 5th, and 6th levels belong to the middle phase. The 7th, 8th, and 9th levels pertain to the later stages of cultivation. It signifies that those who are bustling about in the streets have all attained a cultivation level between the 7th and 9th stages of body refinement. Logically, this territory belongs to the Han family, and these practitioners should, in theory, be members of the Han clan. Indeed, within the Han family, numerous cultivators have reached the 7th to 9th levels of body refinement. However, through their countenances and attire, Han Yi discerned that these individuals were not from the Han family, but rather from their archrival, the Pan family. The Pan family dares to wreak havoc within the domain of the Han family. What is their intention? Han Yi, having grown up in the Han household, is well aware of the intense rivalries among external families. The Han family once basked in glory in the external realm, having at one time boasted 7 foundational practitioners safeguarding their interests. During that period, the Han family's strength ranked among the top 10 in the realm of external families. However, as time wore on, the foundational practitioners of the Han family gradually fell, leading to a decline in their overall power. Presently, the Han family is left with only Han Yi's grandfather as a foundational strength. Consequently, the Han family's power has further waned. As the external families observed the diminishing strength of the Han family, they incessantly encroached upon its resources, exacerbating its weakness. As a young member of the Han family, Han Yi has only attained the body refinement level himself and can offer only minimal assistance. Nevertheless, Han Yi has returned with aspirations to alter the current predicament of the Han family. Yet, despite having reached the 9th level of body refinement, his strength remains inadequate. Han Yi must elevate his cultivation to the Qi refinement stage. Just as Han Yi was lost in thought, a voice suddenly called out from behind him, "Young master, is it you?" Upon hearing the voice, Han Yi instinctively turned around. A figure stood behind him, a woman of exquisite beauty, her slender form clad in a fitted black leather outfit that accentuated her curves. Her name is Lu Wei, a guest of the Han family, and also Han Yi's mentor on his path of cultivation. Han Yi's attainment of the 7th level of body refinement is largely attributable to her guidance. "Sister Lu Wei, what brings you here?" Han Yi exclaimed, surprised. "I was about to ask you, Young master, where have you been these past few days? How did you end up in Qingsang town? Luan inquired. Hee. I've just been wandering about. Han Yi replied. Young master, you truly are carefree. Much has transpired within the family lately. The master has been exceedingly worried about you. You know? Luan remarked. Although she addressed him as young master, Luan often assumed the role of a mentor and did not regard him with the formality typically afforded to a young master. Thus, her words carried little pretense. What has happened? Why are there so many from the Pan family here? What are they up to? This Qingsang town is the territory of the Han family. Han Yi questioned. Young master, you have recognized that those individuals hail from the Pan family. We must leave this place swiftly. Luan urged. What is going on? Han Yi asked. What else could it be? The Pan family aims to seize control of Qingsang town, Luan remarked. Han Yi scratched his head and replied. The Pan family is truly despicable, always opposing our Han family. What can we do when we are so powerless? Luan continued. However, upon further reflection, it doesn't quite add up. Although Qingsang town is under the jurisdiction of our Han family, we don't possess any significant industries here. Moreover, it is somewhat distant from the Pan family. Why would they be so irrational as to covet this town? Han Yi pondered. Young master, are you truly unaware of the situation in Qingsang town? Luan inquired. What situation could there possibly be? Han Yi countered. Our Han family discovered a precious gold vein in Qingsang town, worth a fortune. However, the news spread like wildfire, reaching the ears of the Pan family. Without hesitation, they launched a surprise attack on our gold mine, resulting in considerable casualties among our ranks. Now, the Pan family is intent on completely taking over Qingsang town. Luan explained. Upon hearing this, Han Yi was taken aback and asked, when did this happen? Just in the past few days, Luan responded. What is my grandfather's stance on this matter? Han Yi inquired. When the old master heard of the Pan family's attack on the mine, he was consumed with rage and rallied forces to reclaim it. Unfortunately, he fell into an ambush set by the Pan family, leading to heavy losses for the Han family. Thankfully, he managed to escape, or else the Han family might have been finished, Luan recounted. Curse the Pan family. Han Yi said coldly. He was well aware that the Han family was not on amicable terms with the surrounding aristocratic families, often engaging in fierce conflicts. The family most opposed to the Han family was the Pan family, with thousands of skirmishes occurring over the centuries, leaving no room for reconciliation. Young master, where have you been these past few days? Luan asked. As I said, I was merely wandering about, Han Yi replied. This is not the time for you to be wandering. I think it would be best if you return to the Han family with me, Luan insisted. Sister Luan, what brings you to Qingsang town? Han Yi questioned. I came to organize our people for a retreat. Right now, we cannot afford to provoke the Pan family and must relinquish control of Qingsang town, Luan explained. Despicable. Han Yi clenched his fists, silently vowing. In the past, he had little confidence when facing the Pan family. However, now with the memories of his ancestral sect, he was destined to grow rapidly. Thus, Han Yi vowed to annihilate the Pan family once he became powerful. Chapter 8. Encountering trouble, nothing to fear. Seeing Han Yi, Luan intended to lead him away. Just as they rose, a group of individuals approached, and they were none other than the people from the Pan family. They had come to expel the Han family and seize complete control of the small town to facilitate the mining of the precious resources within. At present, the group of individuals from the Pan family is led by a man at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. This man, with a dark complexion and a slender physique, exudes an air of arrogance. His gaze shifts towards Luan and Han Yi, ultimately resting upon Han Yi. Han Yi, upon noticing this gaunt figure, recognizes him with clarity. This man, hailing from the Pan family, is a young scion named Pan Rao. Among the younger generation of the Pan family, he is regarded as somewhat talented, having reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm at a young age, with the potential to draw energy into his body. Over the years, the Pan and Han families have been embroiled in constant strife. Han Yi had previously engaged in a duel with Pan Rao, but ultimately found himself outmatched, conceding defeat. Therefore, upon encountering Han Yi, Pan Rao feels a surge of exhilaration. Seeing before him a vanquished foe. Han Yi, I never imagined you would appear here. Pan Rao exclaims. Why shouldn't I be here? Qingsang town is, after all, the territory of my Han family. Han Yi retorts. Previously, it was indeed your domain, but from this day forth, it shall belong to the Pan family. I advise the Han family not to harbor delusions. Should you do so, annihilation awaits you, Pan Rao asserts. Pan Rao, let me make this clear. Even if you seize Qingsang town today, I, Han Yi, will reclaim it in the future. Han Yi declares. Ah, Han Yi, you possess remarkable spirit, but alas, you will not have that opportunity. Pan Rao chuckles. Opportunity? Do you intend to kill me here and now? Han Yi questions. You are correct. I do wish to end your life. However, Upon further reflection, you are ultimately just a waste, so I would like to offer you a chance. If you crawl through my legs right now, I shall spare your life. What do you say? Pan Rao proposes. Pan Rao, your words are exceedingly arrogant, Han Yi responds. This is not arrogance. It is merely a reflection of your inadequacy, Pan Rao retorts. At these words, Han Yi brandishes his sword, pointing it defiantly at Pan Rao. Pan Rao, you claim I am incompetent, but that was in the past. Today is not what it once was. Do you dare to battle me? Seeing Han Yi wield his weapon, Pan Rao sneers coldly, saying, Han Yi, do not think for a moment that I am unaware of your true capabilities. You have merely just entered the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Do you truly believe you can contend with me? Whether I can or cannot, we shall see. Han Yi replies, very well. However, should you be defeated today, I can still offer you a chance to live. Just crawl through my legs obediently, Pan Rao laughs. Enough of this idle chatter, Han Yi asserts. Having faced defeat at Pan Rao's hands before, Han Yi has long been discontented. Now, having ascended to the 9th level of the body refinement realm and possessing the memories and legacy of Ancestor Ning Yue, Han Yi can effortlessly wield the techniques stored in those memories. In this moment, as he brandishes his sword, he contemplates dozens of sword techniques. The most formidable technique from Ancestor Ning Yue is the Shocking Heaven Sword Technique. The Heaven-Shaking Sword Technique is the most formidable sword art of the Heaven-Shaking Sword sect. The venerable Ancestor Ning Yue has truly reached the pinnacle of mastery with this technique. Han Yi, at the 9th level of body refinement, is certainly capable of executing some fundamental moves of the Heaven-Shaking Sword Technique. He believes that employing these basic maneuvers would be sufficient to defeat Pan Luo. However, Han Yi reflects that as merely an outer sect disciple, using such a technique might invite unnecessary trouble. He recalls having heard from Wan Shuang that the Red Flood sect and the Silver Moon sect have infiltrated the Heaven-Shaking Sword sect, and they are aware of the matter concerning the resurrection of Ancestor Ning Yue. Should they discover that Han Yi is the vessel of that resurrection, they would undoubtedly seek to eliminate him. Therefore, Han Yi must remain discreet and cannot afford to expose himself. Although he can adeptly wield the Heaven-Shaking Sword Technique, he cannot dare to employ it in public. In a moment of contemplation, Han Yi remembers a particular sword technique, the Silver Shuttle Sword Technique. This technique is quite renowned among the outer sect, with many noble families possessing its sword manuals, yet it is notoriously difficult to comprehend. To this day, few have succeeded in mastering the Silver Shuttle Sword Technique. Without further hesitation, Han Yi resolves to utilize it. At this moment, Luan observes the escalating situation with a growing sense of urgency, contemplating a plea for mercy from the Pan family. However, she could never have anticipated that Han Yi would choose to confront them head-on. Young master, do you have confidence in this? Luan inquires anxiously. Luan, our Han family and the Pan family are like fire and water. Now that we are besieged, we have no choice but to fight back, Han Yi asserts. But you are no match for Pan Luo. Perhaps I should take over. Luan bites her lip and suggests. Luan, rest assured, I am confident. With just one strike, I can bring him down. Han Yi declares. One strike? Young master, this is hardly the time for bravado. Luan responds. Luan, I assure you, I speak not in jest. They approach us with ill intentions. Our only recourse is to fight our way out. Besides, you, Luan, are considered a beauty within our Han family. I doubt you wish to fall into their hands, Han Yi states. Upon hearing Han Yi's words, Luan resolves to charge forth alongside him. Although she perceives the overwhelming numbers against them, she understands the nature of the Pan family. If captured, her fate would be dire. In an instant, Luan assumes a battle stance, ready to engage. Pan Luo, with a piercing gaze, wastes no time and brandishes his weapon, charging towards Han Yi. The technique employed by Pan Luo is a mid-grade common-level sword art, which he prides himself on. As Pan Luo unleashes his weapon, Han Yi does not hesitate. He activates the Silver Shuttle Sword Technique and rushes to confront Pan Luo. Facing the blockade, Han Yi understands that once he strikes, he must do so with ruthless determination. His weapon dances in the air as he expertly executes the superior grade common-level technique, the Silver Shuttle Sword Technique. As Han Yi wielded his sword, the sword aura surged forth like a silver shuttle, hurtling towards Pan Lao. Upon sensing the impending attack, Pan Lao was momentarily taken aback. The Silver Shuttle Sword Technique? You have actually comprehended the Silver Shuttle Sword Technique. Pan Lao found it hard to believe, and in that fleeting moment, the sword aura swept past. Boom. Pan Lao's own sword aura was instantly shattered. Subsequently, Han Yi's sword energy crashed into Pan Lao, sending him flying. As Pan Lao fell to the ground, he attempted to rise, only to find a crimson hole gaping from his chest. A sharp pain gripped his heart, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood, shouting, "Third brother, hurry." Before he could finish, he fell silent. Chapter 9. The arrival of a powerful cultivator in the Qi training realm. Pan Lao was slain, cut down by Han Yijian with a single sword strike. Han Yijian himself was momentarily stunned. He had never experienced such exhilaration in battle before. To his astonishment, he had managed to dispatch Pan Lao so effortlessly today, which was utterly inconceivable. Han Yijian felt a renewed sense of certainty that he had not only inherited the memories of the esteemed Elder Ning Yue, but also his legacy. As long as Han Yijian's cultivation was sufficient, he could effortlessly wield all the techniques of Elder Ning Yue. The Silver Shuttle Sword technique was classified as a superior skill of the mundane level. With Han Yijian at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, he was capable of unleashing the full potential of this technique. At this moment, Lu Wei was equally astonished. In the Han family, Lu Wei served as a mentor to Han Yijian, guiding him throughout his cultivation journey. She had always regarded him as having some talent, but certainly not as a genius. Yet now, Han Yijian's performance had left her utterly dumbfounded. Lu Wei recognized that he had employed the Silver Shuttle Sword technique, of which she was also aware. The Han family possessed the sword manual for this technique, yet to this day, no one had been able to master it. It was said that only an absolute genius could comprehend the Silver Shuttle Sword technique. Yet here was Han Yijian, executing it flawlessly. Han Yijian, you are utilizing the Silver Shuttle Sword technique? Lu Wei inquired. Indeed, Sister Lu, you are correct. It is the Silver Shuttle Sword technique that I have employed. Han Yijian replied. I never expected you to possess such understanding. I truly underestimated you, Lu Wei remarked. Sister Lu, there are many more aspects where you have underestimated me, Han Yijian said. Having slain Pan Lao, Han Yijian prepared to strike again. In his mind, the rivalry between the Han and Pan families was as fierce as fire and water. In battle, it was either one's death or the other's. Thus, his decision to eliminate Pan Lao today bore no moral dilemma. Meanwhile, the other Pan family disciples, witnessing Han Yijian's formidable display, were left in shock. They found themselves at a loss, hesitating over whether to engage Han Yijian. They exchanged glances, ultimately reaching a consensus to take action against Han Yi. After all, they were 7 in number, wielding the advantage of their greater numbers. In an instant, the young scions of the Pan family brandished their weapons and charged toward Han Yi. Without hesitation, Han Yi once again summoned the Silver Shuttle Sword technique. As he wielded his sword, the sword energy surged forth like silver shuttles, sweeping towards the approaching Pan family members. In a mere moment, they were all sent flying by the force of the sword's aura. The Silver Shuttle Sword technique possessed formidable penetrating power, leaving each of the Pan disciples chilled to the core upon impact. Consequently, with a single flurry of strikes, Han Yi dispatched them all, leaving no survivors. Having vanquished the Pan family scions, Han Yi turned his gaze to Lu Wei, who held her weapon, poised to join him in battle. However, before she could act, Han Yi had already eliminated the entire group, leaving her in stunned disbelief. Sister Lu Wei, don't stand there in shock. We must leave this place, Han Yi urged. Indeed, Lu Wei nodded, saying, I never anticipated that not only has young master mastered the Silver Shuttle Sword technique, but he wields it with such ferocity and dominance. It seems his comprehension of this technique runs quite profound. Although the Silver Shuttle Sword technique was merely a mortal level technique, it paled in comparison to those of the profound level. While I can handle these Pan family members at the body refinement stage, I would stand no chance against those at the Qi refinement stage, Han Yi acknowledged. You are right, young master. We must hasten our departure. As far as I know, there are 3 Qi refinement practitioners from the Pan family in this town. Lu Wei informed him. What? 3 Qi refinement practitioners? Han Yi exclaimed in alarm. Those 3 Qi refinement cultivators were none other than the 3 brothers of Pan Lao. Lu Wei continued. Indeed, Pan Lao called out for his 3rd brother before he died. Perhaps that brother is nearby? In that case, we should leave swiftly. With those words, Han Yi prepared to depart alongside Lu Wei. Given the overwhelming might of the Pan family, the Han family had no choice but to evade their wrath. The entire town of Qingsang had fallen under the control of the Pan family, and remaining even a moment longer was fraught with peril for Han Yi. As Han Yi and Lu Wei exchanged a glance, they resolved to leave together. Just as they were about to make their exit, a figure materialized in the sky above. The individual wielded a flying sword and gazed down at Han Yi and Lu Wei with predatory intent. This is it. The Qi refinement practitioner from the Pan family has arrived. Lu Wei felt a chill run through her. That must be Pan He, Pan Lao's 3rd brother, Han Yi declared. Fully aware of the Pan family's extensive lineage, which boasted 4 prodigies known as the 4 tigers of the Pan family. Pan Lao and Pan He were among these illustrious figures. This time, the Pan family sought to seize control of Qingsang town, with the 4 tigers of the Pan family playing a pivotal role. Although Han Yi had slain Pan Lao, it was evident that confronting a Qi cultivation practitioner like Pan He was beyond his capabilities. Qi cultivation practitioners possess the ability to fly with swords, move with remarkable speed, and wield magical powers, attributes far beyond those of a mere body refinement practitioner. The chasm between body refinement cultivators and Qi cultivation practitioners is insurmountable. The four women of Ancestor Ning Yue had generously bestowed numerous treasures upon Han Yi. Yet those treasures could only be wielded by those with magical abilities at the Qi level or above. However, the Wind Thunder Steed gifted to Han Yi by Wan Shuang was an exception. With the mere summoning of the steed from his spirit beast pouch, Han Yi could easily depart from this place and return to the Han family. Sister Lu Wei, Pan He has only recently entered the Qi level. We have nothing to fear, Han Yi assured. Young master, he is still a Qi cultivator. Lu Wei cautioned. Do not worry, I will take you away immediately. Han Yi declared. Can you truly take me away? Lu Wei questioned, struggling to believe Han Yi's words. At that moment, Pan He, clad in a black robe, soared high above, his eyes scanning the scene. Upon witnessing the numerous members of the Pan family slaughtered, he could not contain his rage. The sight of the impact of the spells wielded by those in the Qi refinement realm is truly formidable. I wonder when I, too, shall reach such a level, remarked Lu Wei. Sister Lu Wei, you will undoubtedly achieve the Qi refinement realm, Han Yi assured her. Reaching the Qi refinement realm is no simple feat. It requires the ability to draw Qi into the body. I have attempted this several times, yet each effort has ended in failure, Lu Wei lamented. Sister Lu Wei, you must be using inferior Qi gathering pills, correct? Han Yi inquired. Indeed, Lu Wei replied. In due time, I shall procure a superior Qi gathering pill for you. And I assure you, it will elevate you to the Qi refinement realm, Han Yi declared. Young master, you cannot be jesting. Lu Wei questioned. I speak the truth. Han Yi insisted. Young master, do not tease me. If reaching the Qi refinement realm were so easy, the Han family would surely have produced countless practitioners by now. Lu Wei asserted. Unconvinced, she appeared reluctant to accept Han Yi's words. To Han Yi, attaining the third level of the Qi refinement realm would enable him to commence alchemy. The memory of Ancestor Ning Yue held numerous alchemical techniques, making the creation of a superior Qi gathering pill seem quite feasible. Thus, Han Yi's current objective was to consume a Qi gathering pill, draw Qi into his body, and step into the Qi refinement realm. Han Yi urged the Wind Thunder Steed onward at a rapid pace. After a brief pursuit, Pan He, witnessing the swift departure of the Wind Thunder Steed, chose not to chase any further. Instead, he activated a communication talisman to relay a message to his two elder brothers. This time, in a bid to ensure their control over Qingsang town, the Pan family patriarch had dispatched all four of his sons, Pan Ji, Pan Lai, Pan He, and Pan Luo. Of these, three had already entered the Qi refinement realm. Pan He sought to inform his brothers, Pan Ji and Pan Lai, to intercept Han Yi and Lu Wei ahead. As Han Yi propelled the Wind Thunder Steed forward with Lu Wei, the exhilarating speed thrilled him. He felt no apprehension of falling off, for he possessed the memories of Ancestor Ning Yue, which included various beast taming techniques. Thus, commanding the Wind Thunder Steed was a trivial matter. Conversely, it was Lu Wei's first experience riding this steed, and she was filled with trepidation, fearing she might tumble off. Consequently, she clung tightly to Han Yi, unwilling to let go. Young master, this steed must be the Wind Thunder Steed sold by the Inner Doors Showdown pasture, correct? Lu Wei asked. Indeed, Han Yi confirmed. How did you come to possess a Wind Thunder Steed, and it appears to be thoroughly trained? Lu Wei queried. As the young master of the Han family, is it not expected that I would have a Wind Thunder Steed? Han Yi replied. However, as far as I know, such Wind Thunder Steeds are incredibly swift, and only the scions of those prominent families in the outer door can afford to purchase them, Lu Wei asserted. Sister Lu Wei, are you implying that my Han family is too weak to afford a Wind Thunder Steed? Han Yi countered. That is not what I meant. Lu Wei stammered. Rest assured, my Han family will undoubtedly rise to power. The Pan family shall merely serve as a stepping stone on our path to greatness, declared Han Yi. Hearing this, Lu Wei merely shook her head. Lu Wei had previously mentored Han Yi in his cultivation and was well aware of his disposition. In her recollection, although Han Yi possessed a modicum of cultivation ability, he was prone to grandiloquence and had a penchant for boasting. Presently, Lu Wei regarded Han Yi's words as mere bluster and did not take them seriously. As Han Yi urged the Wind Thunder Steed onward, he yearned to escape Qingsang town swiftly. Yet, amidst his hurried flight, an ominous sensation washed over him. Ahead, a formidable pressure surged forth, and in an instant, two streams of sword energy lunged towards him. The sight sent a wave of alarm coursing through Han Yi's heart. He promptly directed the Wind Thunder Steed to change course. Boom, boom. The two sword energies struck the ground, creating two massive craters. Witnessing this, Han Yi inhaled deeply. Young master, what is happening? Lu Wei inquired from the side. There are 2 practitioners at the Qi refinement stage ahead, Hani replied. What? 2 Qi refinement stage practitioners? Luan exclaimed in shock. She had thought they had successfully evaded one, only to discover that 2 more awaited them. Young master, what shall we do now? Luan asked. Han Yi's mind momentarily clouded with confusion. In a fleeting thought, he unexpectedly gleaned a fragment of information from the memories of the late Master Ning Yue. Although this area was part of the outer sect, it contained a perilous locale known as the Red Toad Mountain Range. In his time as a Qi refinement practitioner, Master Ning Yue had once cultivated there and had even established a small cave dwelling atop the mountain range. To this day, that cave might still exist. Thus, an idea began to form in Han Yi's mind. With obstacles ahead and pursuers behind, he resolved to change direction in search of a safe haven. If I am not mistaken, the 2 ahead must be Pan Zhi and Pan Lai, Hani postulated. Indeed, it is likely Pan Zhi and Pan Lai, Luan confirmed. They approach with great ferocity, and we stand no chance against them. If they surround us, we must find a place to hide. Hani stated. Hide? Where shall we hide? Luan questioned. Is there not a mountain range nearby called the Red Toad Mountain Range? We could seek refuge there, Hani suggested. What? To the Red Toad Mountain Range? That place is fraught with danger. The red toad beasts are at least second-tier monsters. If we encounter them, we could meet our demise there. Luan cautioned. Then what alternative do you propose? Hani challenged. I have no better plans. Luan admitted. Since you have no other solutions, we shall follow my lead, Hani concluded. Although Luan found Han Yi somewhat unreliable, she recognized that they had no other options at present. Now, everything hinges on Han Yi's decisions. Chapter 11. Pursued, entering the Qingsang mountain range. Soon, Han Yi beheld 2 formidable practitioners of the Qi refinement stage rushing towards him. One was at the 3rd level of Qi refinement, while the other had reached the 5th level. These 2 were none other than Pan Lai and Pan Zhi, the messengers from Pan He. At this moment, both Pan Lai and Pan Zhi cast cold glances in Han Yi's direction. They had presumed that the Han family had completely succumbed to decline, yet unexpectedly, a youth such as this emerged. It appears we have underestimated the Han family, Pan Lai remarked. And what of it? Even if he possesses talent, he remains merely at the 9th level of body refinement, unable to ascend to Qi refinement, akin to an ant, Pan Zhi retorted. Although it was somewhat disdainful for a practitioner of Qi refinement to slay someone at the body refinement stage, Pan Lai and Pan Zhi were indifferent to such sentiments. In their eyes, Han Yi had slain numerous members of the Pan family. Thus, he must perish. Therefore, no matter the cost, they were determined to hunt him down to the death. At this moment, upon seeing the approaching Qi refinement experts, Han Yi summoned his wind thunder steed and galloped towards the Qingsang mountain range. Pan Lai and Pan Zhi, witnessing Han Yi's flight, realized that he was riding a wind thunder steed. Ah, that brat actually rides a wind thunder steed, Pan Lai exclaimed. The wind thunder steed is a spirit beast raised by the Showdown pasture, affordable only by the scions of prominent families. For the Han family, a once noble lineage now fallen, to acquire such a beast is simply wasteful, Pan Zhi remarked. Nonetheless, he is still merely at the body refinement stage, and the wind thunder steed he commands is unlikely to be of high caliber. With our abilities, catching up to him should not pose much difficulty, Pan Lai declared. However, it seems he is heading towards the Qingsang mountain range, Pan Zhi noted. The Qingsang mountain range? Pan Lai was taken aback. Although it is not strictly a forbidden area, it is fraught with danger. How dare he venture there? Pan Zhi commented. There is no other choice. Since he has gone there, we must ensure his demise. Moreover, the vein of fetal gold that we seized is also located in that region. His journey there is tantamount to courting death, Pan Lai stated. With this exchange, both Pan Lai and Pan Zhi mounted their swords and sped towards Han Yi's direction. At this moment, Pan He also approached Pan Lai and Pan Zhi, expressing disappointment that they had not intercepted Han Yi. Thus, the 3 practitioners of Qi refinement set off in pursuit of Han Yi. To them, Han Yi had killed their family members and their brother Pan Luo. They could not allow him to escape unscathed. As Han Yi urged the wind thunder steed onward, he conversed with Luan. Young master, I suddenly recalled something, Luan exclaimed. What is it? Han Yi inquired. The fetal gold vein we discovered seems to be located near the Qingsang mountain range, Luan replied. What? The gold vein is located near the Qingsang mountain range, exclaimed Han Yi. To be precise, the site of the gold vein is indeed part of the Qingsang mountain range. However, that area is devoid of the Qingsang demon beasts. Luan elucidated. Are you suggesting that if those members of the Pan family send word to their kin over there, we might find ourselves besieged? Han Yi inquired. Yes, that is a fair assessment. Therefore, it might be prudent for us to consider an alternate location, Luan responded. Upon hearing this, Han Yi contemplated for a moment before declaring, there is no need for that. Since we have chosen the Qingsang mountain range, we shall proceed there without further hesitation. At this juncture, Han Yi was already nearing the Qingsang mountain range, leaving him little room for other options. He believed that as long as he could find the cave left behind by old ancestor Ning Yue, he could remain hidden safely. Thus, Han Yi, accompanied by Lu Wei, made their way towards the Qingsang mountain range. Indeed, they soon encountered a considerable number of members from the Pan family. Each of these individuals brandished their weapons, intent on attacking Han Yi. Fortunately, none of them were practitioners at the Qi refinement stage. Observing the situation, Han Yi did not hesitate. He wielded his sword and charged towards them. In mere moments, the group of Pan disciples was left in disarray. With that, Han Yi overcame the obstruction posed by the Pan family members and swiftly entered the Qingsang mountain range. This mountain range boasted countless years of history, filled with lush, ancient trees. Riding his wind thunder steed, Han Yi ventured deeper into the mountains alongside Lu Wei. Young master, I can't shake the feeling that entering the Qingsang mountain range may be somewhat foolish. Lu Wei voiced her concern. Rest assured, it will be fine. I know of a safe place. As long as we reach it, we shall be unharmed, Han Yi assured her. A safe place? What do you mean by that? Lu Wei queried. It is a cave left behind by predecessors, Han Yi replied. What? A cave left by predecessors? You can't possibly have visited here before. Lu Wei exclaimed. Hee, one might say so, Han Yi chuckled. Lu Wei, upon hearing Han Yi's words, appeared somewhat skeptical. At that moment, Han Yi recalled his cultivation ambitions. If he were to enter old ancestor Ning Yue's cave, he would be able to absorb qi into his body, and, upon reaching the qi refinement stage, his next endeavor would be to further enhance his cultivation. To continue progressing in the qi refinement stage, it was essential to have a dual cultivation partner. Thus, Han Yi considered that Lu Wei might be the most suitable candidate. Although Lu Wei had been Han Yi's first mentor in cultivation, she was not significantly older than him. Han Yi had even jokingly told Lu Wei that once he grew up, he would marry her. Therefore, he was determined not to let this opportunity slip away. Sister Lu Wei, once we enter that cave, I will first absorb the qi and step into the qi refinement stage, Han Yi stated. Young master, entering the qi refinement stage is not as simple as it sounds. Lu Wei cautioned. My aptitude for cultivation is quite commendable. With the consumption of a superior qi infusion pill, entering the qi cultivation realm should pose no challenge, Han Yi remarked. Is that truly the case? Lu Wei inquired, taken aback. Indeed. However, I possess a unique cultivation technique that will require your assistance, Sister Lu Wei, Han Yi replied. What technique might that be? Lu Wei asked, surprised once more. You shall find out in due time, Han Yi responded. Although Han Yi harbored intentions of dual cultivation with Lu Wei, he refrained from disclosing this to avoid provoking her emotions. Thus, it was prudent to postpone such discussions until they reached the cave abode. By then, once Han Yi attained the qi cultivation realm, even if Lu Wei wished to decline, it would be of no consequence. With that, Han Yi urged the wind thunder steed deeper into the depths of the Qingsang mountain range. The Qingsang mountain range is divided into shallow, deep, and forbidden zones. The beasts in the shallow areas are classified as first tier, while those in the depths are second tier, and the forbidden zone harbors third tier beasts. The cave Han Yi sought lay at the juncture of the shallow and forbidden areas. Although the Qingsang mountain range falls under the jurisdiction of the Han family, it offers little in the way of valuable herbs or beasts, leading the Han clan members to seldom venture here, let alone establish control. Nevertheless, the depths of the Qingsang mountain range occasionally yield a herb known as the Qingsang grass, which can serve as a substitute for the core ingredient in the qi infusion pill formula, enabling the crafting of higher-grade pills. This has prompted some cultivators to brave the risks in search of the Qingsang grass. Additionally, a particularly noteworthy creature known as the Qingfu Qingsang beast possesses considerable medicinal value. However, most who seek the Qingsang grass or hunt the Qingfu Qingsang beast ultimately return empty-handed. Chapter 12. An ominous presence in the depths of the mountains at that moment. Han Yi turned to Lu Wei with a smile and said, Sister Lu Wei, do you recall when I promised that I would marry you once I grew up? Upon hearing this, Lu Wei furrowed her brow and replied, Young master, please do not jest. You are the heir of the Han family, while I, Lu Wei, am merely an insignificant guest of the Han clan. Our statuses are incompatible. Incompatible? As long as I deem it suitable, that is all that matters, Han Yi asserted. Young master, you must not entertain such notions. You should seek a match of equal standing. Given the current turmoil within the Han family, perhaps a strategic marriage could alter our circumstances, Lu Wei suggested. Sister Lu Wei, should you agree to marry me, once I break through to the qi cultivation realm, I could potentially assist you in refining qi infusion pills here, aiding your own breakthrough. Han Yi proposed. Is that truly possible? You have no experience in alchemy. I find that hard to believe. Moreover, my constitution is average, and even with a qi infusion pill, I may not succeed in channeling qi into my body, Lu Wei replied. Shaking her head. You may not believe it now, but you will in due time, Han stated. As Han Yi and Lu Wei rode the wind thunder steed deeper into the Qingsang mountain range, their journey continued. At this moment, the thunder steed continued to emit warnings, signaling to Han Yi that danger lay ahead. However, Han Yi remained unfazed, possessing the memories of the venerable Ning Yue, who frequently visited this place. Han Yi was able to discern, through Ning Yue's recollections, the treacherous and safe areas within the depths of this secret realm. Thus, mounted on the thunder steed, he effortlessly navigated away from peril. Throughout the journey, Han Yi felt little concern. Even if they were to encounter the second-tier Crimson Toad beasts, he was confident that the speed of the thunder steed would ensure they could not catch up. With this resolve, Han Yi galloped deeper into the Crimson Toad mountain range, making his way toward the cave left behind by Ning Yue. In contrast, as they ventured further into the secret realm, Lu Wei's anxiety grew. Particularly upon hearing the cries of the Crimson Toad beasts, she felt a surge of dread. Consequently, she clung to Han Yi even more tightly. The sensation of her embrace ignited a fierce pulse within Han Yi. As a vigorous young man, he had harbored fleeting thoughts of Lu Wei in the past, and now, with her holding him from behind, he found it increasingly difficult to contain his emotions. At that moment, he clenched his teeth and employed a calming technique to steady his tumultuous thoughts. Sister Lu Wei, there is no need for concern. Once we locate that cave, we shall be safe. After reaching the cave, I will advance to the Qi refining stage and elevate my cultivation slightly. And then I will take you back to the Han family, Han Yi assured her. Is there truly a cave? Have you been here before? Lu Wei's mind was filled with questions, yet her predominant feeling was one of worry. Sister Lu Wei, let's not dwell on questions now. We shall discuss everything once we arrive, Han Yi replied. As Han Yi led Lu Wei through the depths of the Crimson Toad mountain range, he exhibited no signs of fear. He noticed one or two second-tier Crimson Toad beasts charging towards them, yet they posed no threat. Though classified as second-tier monsters, their bulk rendered them clumsy, making it impossible for them to catch up to the thunder steed. This thrill invigorated Han Yi, while Lu Wei was left terrified by the sight of the Crimson Toads. She understood well the danger they represented. Each beast resembled a small mountain, their tongues extending up to 10 meters, capable of ensnaring a person and swallowing them whole. Lu Wei's thoughts raced with dread at the prospect of being caught by one of those tongues, realizing that her life would be forfeit. Fortunately, the thunder steed moved with such swiftness that the toads found it difficult to pursue. At this juncture, at the boundary between the shallow and deep areas of the Crimson Toad mountain range, 3 Qi refining experts from the Pan family had already arrived. Observing Han Yi riding the thunder steed into the depths of the mountains, they hesitated. Despite their own attainment of the Qi refining stage, they were well aware of the dangers lurking in the depths of the Crimson Toad mountain range. A moment's carelessness could lead to their demise within these treacherous lands. Thus, the 3 of them dared not proceed recklessly. However, should they muster a team to venture into the depths of the Crimson Toad mountains, it would not pose a significant threat. Although the Crimson Toad was classified as a second-tier demon beast, it harbored a considerable weakness. If one were to launch a vigorous attack on this vulnerability, even a second-tier Crimson Toad could be slain without much difficulty. Pan He, Pan Lai, and Pan Ji exchanged glances, instantly igniting a shared idea. Over the years, the Pan family had suppressed the Han family, who generally dared not confront them directly, opting instead for submission. Yet now, a brash young man from the Han family, in the body refinement realm, had killed many of their kin, including their 4th brother. This matter could not simply be overlooked, Pan Ji asserted. As a 5th-level practitioner of the Qi refinement realm, her stubborn disposition ensured that once she made a decision, she would not waver. Brother, that young man has ventured deep into the Crimson Toad mountains. If we truly seek him out, we are well aware of the dangers lurking within those depths. His reckless intrusion is tantamount to courting death, Pan Lai queried. Indeed, Brother Pan Lai is correct. That young man may be nothing more than an impetuous fool, utterly unaware of the perils of the Crimson Toad mountains. His audacity in charging in will undoubtedly lead to his demise. Pan He remarked. That young man has slain our 4th brother. If the 3 of us are unable to eliminate him, we shall have no explanation to offer our father. Thus, even if he perishes, we must ensure his body is returned, Pan Ji declared. With that settled, I shall now organize our forces to delve into the Crimson Toad mountains, Pan He announced. For Pan Ji and her companions, their brother's death at the hands of Han Yi was an affront they could not overlook. Therefore, they were resolute in ensuring Han Yi met his end within these treacherous mountains. Meanwhile, Han Yi rode the thunder steed at a brisk pace when, all of a sudden, he heard a cacophony emanating from the jungle, signaling something amiss. At that moment, he reined in the thunder steed, eager to ascertain the cause of the commotion. Young master, why have you halted? Lu Wei inquired. There is something ahead, Han Yi replied. Young master, We are deep within the Crimson Toad Mountains, while the Thunder Steed is swift. We cannot afford to linger here. Luan cautioned. Do not worry. It will be fine. Let us see what unfolds. Han Yi reassured her. Seeing Han Yi's reckless curiosity in the face of danger, Luan felt a mix of anxiety and exasperation. Chapter 13. Insights on the green-bellied Crimson Toad. Driven by curiosity about the unfolding events ahead, Han Yi urged the Thunder Steed onward. As he navigated through the dense foliage, he discovered a group of individuals engaged in a fierce battle against a demon beast. It appeared they were struggling to subdue the creature. Someone is battling a Crimson Toad, Luan exclaimed. There seem to be 3 formidable practitioners in the Qi refinement realm among them, while the others are all in the body refinement realm. They have formed a formation in an attempt to suppress the Crimson Toad, yet each of them appears to be laboring significantly, Han Yi observed. Isn't it strange? With so many individuals present, shouldn't they be able to easily vanquish the Red Toad beast by attacking its weaknesses? Luan remarked. In theory, that is indeed the case. Han Yi replied, but this particular Red Toad beast appears to be somewhat different. Typically, the belly of a Red Toad beast is white, which signifies its vulnerable spot. A strong assault on this area would lead to its demise. However, the belly of this one is green, hence it is referred to as the green-bellied Red Toad beast, which possesses no weak point in its abdomen. Young master, you understand this? Luan exclaimed, a hint of surprise in her voice. Han Yi, despite his apparent lack of knowledge, held the memories of the venerable Ning Yue. Even in his early days of cultivation, Ning Yue had once slain a Red Toad beast in this very location. Thus, through Ning Yue's recollections, Han Yi had gained profound insights into the creature. With a smile, Han Yi continued, of course, I possess a wealth of knowledge on the subject. The green-bellied Red Toad beast differs from its counterparts. Its abdominal pouch can be fashioned into armor, while the fat accumulated in its belly is valuable for alchemical concoctions. Indeed, the green-bellied Red Toad beast is an entity of immense worth. Those who are here to slay it likely seek to procure its pouch or its fat. Do you believe that those individuals can actually kill this green-bellied Red Toad beast? Luan inquired. Given their current formation, while they have subdued the beast, they remain oblivious to its vulnerabilities. Thus, successfully slaying it will indeed pose a significant challenge. If I am not mistaken, the beast will soon break free from their grasp. Han Yi observed. Young master, you can discern all of this? Luan asked, astonished. It's nothing, Han Yi chuckled. Luan found his knowledge astonishing, as her memory of Han Yi was of a diligent practitioner, seemingly incapable of understanding such matters. It was as if he had fought these Red Toad beasts before. However, Luan refrained from probing further and instead said, Young master, have you seen enough? We should leave here swiftly. Why the haste? Observing poses no danger. Besides, those individuals are preoccupying the Red Toad beast. It is unlikely to attack us, Han Yi replied. Young master, I am truly in awe of you. But do not forget, the Pan family is still pursuing us, Luan reminded him. Hearing Luan's cautious words, Han Yi nodded in agreement, preparing to mount his steed, the Thunder Hoof. Just as he was about to depart, the green-bellied Red Toad beast unleashed a powerful surge of energy, sending a shockwave that knocked everyone off their feet. At that moment, a figure was propelled by the force of the beast's energy, landing right before Han Yi and Luan. Upon closer inspection, Han Yi realized that the individual was a woman and one of the 3 formidable practitioners from the group. The woman donned a striking red leather armor, her long ponytail lending her an air of competence. Although she had been knocked to the ground by the azure-bellied Red Toad beast, she quickly regained her footing, sword in hand, ready to command her companions to continue the hunt for the creature. However, upon rising, she noticed Han Yi and Luan nearby. The ponytailed woman eyed them warily, seemingly suspecting that they might take advantage of the chaos. Yet, upon sensing their cultivation at the body refinement stage, her apprehension dissipated. Are you 2 alone, without any companions? She inquired. We are indeed just the 2 of us, Han Yi affirmed with a nod. This is not a place for you. The ponytailed woman cautioned. Your cultivation is merely at the body refinement stage, and the Red Toad beast could swallow you whole in an instant. Thank you for your concern. Miss, we are fully aware of the risks present here, Han Yi replied. The woman scrutinized Han Yi and Luan once more, curiosity piqued. Have you been watching us hunt the beast all this time? We only just arrived, but, it seems, you are unable to slay the azure-bellied Red Toad beast. Han Yi remarked. Preposterous. There is nothing our Gu family cannot accomplish. The ponytailed woman retorted. The Gu family, it appears, has come to the fore. I am honored. However, in my opinion, you truly cannot defeat the azure-bellied Red Toad beast, for you are attacking it incorrectly, Han Yi stated. From your words, it seems you possess some understanding of this azure-bellied Red Toad beast. The ponytailed woman challenged. Indeed, I do. unlike the white-bellied red-toed beast. The weakness of the azure-bellied variant lies not in its belly. Thus, your method of attack is misguided. Any assault you launch will be futile, Han Yi explained. Upon hearing this, the ponytailed woman reflected on the earlier events and realized Han Yi was correct. They had expended considerable effort to subdue the azure-bellied red-toed beast. Yet slaying it proved to be a strenuous endeavor. Their swords and weapons could not pierce the beast's hide, and even an attack aimed at its belly yielded no results. At that moment, the ponytailed woman inquired, "Do you know where the azure-bellied red-toed beast's weakness lies? How should we proceed?" With a smile, Han Yi replied, "It is not overly complicated. The true weakness of the azure-bellied red-toed beast is located in its armpit region. A strike there would allow you to peel away its belly hide and subsequently slay the beast." Upon hearing his words, the ponytailed woman experienced a moment of clarity, recognizing the practicality of Han Yi's suggestion. Consequently, she rallied her team to resume the assault on the azure-bellied red-toed beast. As for Han Yi, he did not linger any longer, but instead commanded the Wind Thunder Steed towards a certain cave dwelling. Chapter 14. The cave dwelling left by Ancestor Ning Yue. After observing the haunt, Han Yi felt as though he had acquired the memories of Ancestor Ning Yue, and he seemed to possess boundless knowledge. However, Luan was quite skeptical of Han Yi's claims. "Young master, are you truly certain that your method can enable those individuals to slay the green-bellied red-toed beast?" Luan inquired. "There is absolutely no doubt," Han Yi affirmed. "That green-bellied red-toed beast must be quite valuable, am I right?" Luan asked. "Of course." Han Yi nodded, and then questioned, "Sister Luan, do you have any knowledge of the Gu family?" The Gu family, located not far from the Han family, was once one of the top 10 families in the outer sect a decade ago. However, due to losses in the fierce competition, including several foundation-building experts, they had fallen into decline, their territory diminished by more than half. Nevertheless, even a dying camel is larger than a horse. The Gu family still had 3 foundation-building experts stationed. "I never expected they would come to our territory to hunt beasts," Luan remarked. As Han Yi and Luan conversed, a horrific roar erupted from behind, indicating that the green-bellied red-toed beast had been slain. At that moment, Han Yi and Luan exchanged glances. "Young master, it seems your method has proven effective," Luan exclaimed. "Naturally, my approach is undeniably effective," Han Yi replied. At this point, as Han Yi urged the Wind Thunder Steed to run, he suddenly sensed a considerable number of people approaching from behind. Glancing back, he saw 3 Qi training realm practitioners leading a large group, charging towards him. Upon closer inspection, he realized that the group was indeed from the Pan family. Han Yi had believed that by venturing into the depths of the Red Toad Mountain range, the Pan family would be wary and refrain from pursuing them. To his surprise, they had pursued him so swiftly. "Damn it!" Han Yi exclaimed, spurring the Wind Thunder Steed onward. Not far ahead lay the junction between the depths of the Red Toad Mountain range and the forbidden area, where Ancestor Ning Yue's cave dwelling was located. This cave was protected by a high-grade concealment array, effectively hiding its presence. Although activating the array required spiritual power, Han Yi did not need it to traverse this concealment formation. By merely reciting the incantation in his mind, he could enter the cave, and he could also bring others along. In no time, Han Yi arrived at the location of the cave, nestled among dense ancient trees. The cave was virtually invisible to the untrained eye. Han Yi urged the Wind Thunder Steed, mentally reciting the incantation. The Wind Thunder Steed leaped into the air, and in that instant, it seemed as though Han Yi and Luan had entered an entirely different realm. Upon entering the cave, Han Yi and Luan gazed around in awe. The walls of the cave were adorned with luminous and sparkling glowstones of various sizes. The luminous glow of the fluorite illuminated the entire cavern. As Han Yi beheld this grotto, he felt an uncanny resemblance to the one etched in the memories of the venerable Ning Yue. In that moment, a cascade of thoughts flooded his mind. Han Yi understood that Ning Yue, having traversed 8 centuries as a cultivator, would invariably establish a sanctuary each time he took respite in a new location. These sanctuaries crafted by Ning Yue were renowned for their obscurity, often concealed in perilous locales. Thus, Han Yi surmised that by retracing Ning Yue's path of cultivation, he might ascend to the pinnacle of power. Amidst these contemplations, hope burgeoned within Han Yi for his future endeavors. As he and Luan ventured deeper into the cavern, they encountered a labyrinth of fine threads, evoking a sensation akin to entering a spider's lair. In a fleeting moment of distraction, Han Yi realized these threads were not mere spider silk, but rather the work of a mystical creature known as the Golden Spirit Silkworm. Ning Yue was well versed in various celestial techniques, with a particular mastery of spiritual weaving, and thus often reared diverse silkworms within his sanctuaries. The Golden Spirit Silkworm, classified as a second-tier entity, possessed minimal offensive capabilities. However, once ensnared by its silk, escape was nearly impossible. Ning Yue's primary intention behind cultivating the golden spirit silkworm was not for combat, but to harvest its silk for crafting exquisite garments, particularly fine stockings. Observing the abundance of silk within the cavern, Han Yi hesitated, yet his understanding through Ning Yue's memories alleviated his concerns. Meanwhile, Lu Wei, observing the surroundings, was a blend of curiosity and trepidation. Master, is this truly a sanctuary? It cannot be the lair of a beast, can it? She inquired. Fear not. This is indeed a sanctuary, Han Yi reassured her. But what of these numerous threads? Are they not spun by some spider beast? Lu Wei pressed. No. These threads are silken, produced by the golden spirit silkworm, Han Yi explained. Golden spirit silkworm? Lu Wei furrowed her brow. Are you familiar with the golden spirit silkworm? Han Yi asked. Indeed, I have heard of it. It is a mystical silkworm tamed by the families within the inner sect. The silk produced is utilized to weave various splendid garments. Many of the clothes worn by the scions of those families are crafted from golden spirit silk, Lu Wei responded. You speak truthfully. Golden silk possesses numerous defensive attributes, greatly mitigating damage during confrontations, Han Yi added. Then, considering the abundance of golden silk in this sanctuary, might there be golden spirit silkworms present? Lu Wei queried. Han Yi pondered her words. According to Ning Yue's recollections, this sanctuary had been established during his nascent cultivation phase, now spanning 7 to 8 centuries. Ning Yue had often come to this place to tend to the golden spirit silkworms, regularly checking on their well-being. The place, it seems, has not fallen into neglect. Thus, Han Yi is certain that there must indeed be a considerable number of golden spirit silkworms present. He nodded toward Lu Wei and remarked, there should be quite a few golden spirit silkworms here. However, they are not inherently aggressive, so as long as we do not provoke them, we will be fine. With that, Han Yi led Lu Wei deeper into the cave. Before long, they arrived at a spacious area. As Han Yi looked up, he was astonished to see that the cave was adorned with a multitude of trees. Though not particularly tall, these trees were teeming with small insects. Han Yi recognized that these trees were earth spirit mulberries, a variety that flourishes underground. Their leaves serve as nourishment for the golden spirit silkworms. At that moment, the tiny creatures crawling on the mulberry trees were indeed the golden spirit silkworms. These silkworms, resplendent in gold and no larger than a pinky finger, were busily munching on the mulberry leaves. Chapter 15. Commencing the absorption of qi. Witnessing the scene within the cave, both Han Yi and Lu Wei were struck with awe. As mere practitioners at the body refinement stage, they were naturally filled with wonder at the abode established by a formidable expert. Han Yi, taking in the surroundings, began to delve into the memories of the venerable Master Ning Yue. He mused that perhaps one day he could also tame golden spirit silkworms, subsequently harvesting their golden silk to weave various garments. Meanwhile, Lu Wei became increasingly cautious, for she understood that should she be ensnared by the silkworm's golden silk, escape would be impossible. Do not worry, Lu Wei. If you harbor no hostility toward the golden spirit silkworms, they will not attack you, Han Yi assured her. Yes, I understand. Lu Wei nodded in agreement. At that moment, Han Yi guided Lu Wei further into the depths of the cave. There, they discovered a stone chamber. The chamber was furnished with stone benches, a stone table, a stone bed, and a stone cabinet. This place was immaculate, exuding cleanliness, making it quite suitable for habitation. Young master, have we truly arrived at a place where you can absorb qi into your body? Lu Wei inquired. Absorbing qi into my body is certainly within reach. Han Yi responded. The process of absorbing qi into the body is a pivotal step for those at the body refinement stage transitioning into the qi cultivation stage. The body refinement stage is merely a continuous enhancement of one's physical constitution. When one's physique is sufficiently robust, they can absorb qi into their body, utilizing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to further refine their constitution. By harnessing this spiritual energy, practitioners can wield their powers. It can be said that moving from the body refinement stage to the qi cultivation stage signifies a qualitative leap in one's strength. Only upon entering the qi cultivation stage can one truly be considered a cultivator. Having previously trained alongside Wan Shuang and others, Han Yi reached the 9th level of body refinement, effectively achieving the pinnacle of physical enhancement. Now, if he could successfully absorb qi into his body, he would ascend to the qi cultivation stage, becoming a genuine cultivator. With these thoughts in mind, Han Yi felt a surge of anticipation. First, he attuned himself to the spiritual energy within the cave. It was evident that this cave was situated atop a spiritual vein. Thus, Han Yi was assured that there would be no significant issues in absorbing qi here. Once Han Yi had drawn the vital energy into his body, he could commence his cultivation in the qi refinement realm. To elevate his prowess in this realm, the most effective method was to practice the harmonious melody of the phoenix and the Luan. However, this technique was a dual cultivation practice, and Han Yi could not undertake it alone. Thus, he deemed Lu Wei a suitable candidate. Their relationship had always been cordial. Lu Wei had once been Han Yi's mentor and was also the object of his affections. Han Yi had secretly vowed to marry her. Consequently, bringing Lu Wei to this secluded grotto ignited a flicker of mischievous thoughts within him. Of course, Han Yi would not impose his will upon her. He was determined to ensure that Lu Wei would willingly engage in dual cultivation with him. After all, practicing the harmonious melody was most effective when both parties shared mutual affection. Without love between them, Han Yi could not cultivate this technique. Sister Lu Wei, you are aware of the current predicament of the Han family. We have been under the oppressive thumb of the Pan family and are struggling to breathe. Hence, I wish to grow stronger to help resolve our troubles. Han Yi declared. Young master, such aspirations are indeed a blessing for the Han family. Lu Wei responded. Therefore, I have brought you to this cave today. I need your assistance in my cultivation. Han Yi stated. Assist you in your cultivation? Does it truly require another's help? Lu Wei inquired, puzzled. Did I not mention before that I intended to marry you in the future? Now that I have acquired a dual cultivation technique, I wish to practice it with you, Han Yi explained. What? Dual cultivation? Lu Wei gasped in surprise. She was well aware that in the realm of cultivation, many pairs of dual cultivators shared their journeys together, often practicing such techniques. Lu Wei, being a relatively traditional girl, felt a flush of shyness at the mention of romantic entanglements, causing her to grow anxious at Han Yi's proposition. Sister Lu Wei, I seek this for the strength of the Han family. Han Yi shrugged, continuing, just tell me whether you agree or not. If you refuse, I shall have to seek another partner. Han Yi mused that Lu Wei's hesitation might stem from his lack of enticing offers. Thus, amidst his thoughts, he added, Sister Lu Wei, if you assist me in my cultivation, once I reach a certain proficiency in the Qi refinement realm, I can help you draw vital energy into your body and ascend to that realm as well. For a practitioner at the body refinement stage, reaching the Qi refinement realm was akin to stepping onto the path of immortality. Lu Wei, possessing mixed spiritual roots, had already attained the 9th level of body refinement. Yet she was only a step away from the Qi refinement realm. However, it would be exceedingly difficult for her to enter this realm without favorable opportunities. Thus, upon hearing Han Yi's words, Lu Wei hesitated. Although she was uncertain of the veracity of Han Yi's claims, she felt compelled to believe him. Young master, entering the Qi refinement realm is no simple task. Before that, you mentioned your intention to draw energy into your body here. I believe if you succeed in that endeavor, I can agree to assist you in your cultivation, Lu Wei finally replied. Sister Lu Wei, these words are yours. Do not go back on them when the time comes. Han Yi remarked. Young master, I am but a guest of the Han family, and what I have said shall certainly hold true, Lu Wei replied. Upon hearing Lu Wei's affirmation, Han Yi felt a surge of pride within. Lu Wei was the woman he desired, and he now experienced a sense of fulfillment. At that moment, Han Yi sought out paper and ink, and immediately began to compose the female cultivators section of the Phoenix and Phoenix in harmony on the stone table. After completing the female cultivators section, Han Yi said, This is the female cultivator's manual for the dual cultivation method. Study it well. Once I successfully draw an energy, we shall cultivate together here. Lu Wei nodded at his words, taking the manual and examining it closely. The Phoenix and Phoenix in harmony was not difficult to comprehend. It emphasized practice. As Lu Wei grasped the principles of the manual, she began to envision the intimate scenes of practice, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. She bit her lip and gazed at Han Yi, her heart swirling with myriad thoughts. As a cultivator, Lu Wei had always aspired to elevate her cultivation to the Qi refinement stage, yet she had never contemplated the matter of romantic entanglement. Thus, the thoughts of future cultivation stirred a tempest within her. Watching Han Yi as he drew in energy, she sensed that he was likely to succeed, prompting her to hastily continue studying the manual, hoping to fully comprehend it before Han Yi completed his energy drawing. Chapter 16. Entering the Qi refinement stage. Meanwhile, outside the cave, a group of Pan family members, accompanied by numerous young disciples, had arrived at the scene. However, after a thorough search, they could not find any trace of Han Yi and Lu Wei, leaving the Pan family disciples bewildered. Where's that person? Panji's cold gaze swept the surroundings as his mind began to ripple outward, attempting to locate the vanished Han Yi and Lu Wei. Just moments ago, he could sense their presence. How could they have disappeared so suddenly? This is utterly impossible, Pan Lai exclaimed. It is truly bizarre. Panji added. How infuriating. That brat actually escaped. How shall we return to explain ourselves to father? Pan Lai lamented. Humph, that brat is ultimately a member of the Han family. He may run, but he cannot escape his fate. He has fled today, but we shall surely find him one day. He has killed our fourth brother, and we must not let him go, Panji declared. Just as Pan Lai and Pan Ji exchanged words, Pan He approached with a cheerful grin. Brothers, have you found that fellow? Pan He inquired. Not yet. Why do you wear such a cheerful expression? Has something occurred? Pan Ji replied coldly. I have discovered something exceedingly intriguing. Pan He exclaimed. What is it? Pan Ji asked. Eldest brother, do you recall the existence of the azure-bellied red-toed beast here? Pan He questioned. Of course, I remember. The azure-bellied red-toed beast is a rare variety of the red-toed beast, possessing formidable offensive capabilities and even stronger defenses. However, the azure-bellied variety is of greater value than the white-bellied red-toed beast. The skin pouch from its abdomen can be fashioned into impenetrable armor, and its abdominal fat has detoxifying properties, allowing for the creation of the red-toed elixir, worth a fortune, Pan Ji elaborated. Once, the three of us ventured into the red-toed mountain range and encountered the azure-bellied red-toed beast. At that time, we attempted to slay it but were severely injured instead. That beast is truly infuriating. If we encounter it, we should keep our distance. Pan Lai remarked. Brothers, you are not mistaken, but I believe that perhaps now we might scheme to capture the azure-bellied red-toed beast, Pan He suggested. Upon hearing Pan He's words, both Pan Ji and Pan Lai were perplexed, unable to comprehend his intent. They were acutely aware of the creature's strength. Even if the three of them combined their efforts, they could only subdue it. Killing it was out of the question. At this moment, Pan He continued. I have noticed a group of individuals hunting the azure-bellied red-toed beast in this mountain range. They appear to be effortlessly dispatching the creature. Who are they? Pan Ji inquired. They seem to be from the Gu family. Pan He responded. The Gu family was once among the top 10 families of the outer sect over a decade ago, but they have since declined. Nonetheless, they still possess considerable strength. I find it unwise for us to attempt to take advantage of them, Pan Ji remarked. Eldest brother, we are not merely taking advantage. We are going to eliminate them. Pan He declared. Eliminate them? Are you jesting? Pan Ji was taken aback. Eldest brother, are we not seeking to ally ourselves with the Zhu family? The Zhu family is the sworn enemy of the Gu family, consistently striving to suppress them. If we were to slay the Gu family members here today, it would serve as a declaration of loyalty to the Zhu family, Pan He reasoned. The Zhu family is one of the top 10 families of the outer sect. By allying with them, our Pan family could grow even stronger. Furthermore, the head of the Zhu family has conveyed a message to us, hoping we would deal with the Gu family. Given this, let us take action today, Pan He urged. After some contemplation, Pan Ji nodded in agreement. Currently, the Pan family was growing increasingly powerful and had begun to disregard some of the smaller families in their vicinity. The Gu family, having descended from the top 10 families of the inner sect, still held some strength, making them not a foe to be trifled with. However, the Pan family had aspirations of aligning with one of the top 10 families of the inner sect, the Zhu family. Thus, they had become increasingly audacious. Moreover, the azure-bellied red-toed beast was worth a fortune, and they were determined not to miss this lucrative opportunity. Certainly, while they harbored intentions to confront the Gu family, they did not lose sight of their pursuit of Han Yi and Lu Wei. However, since Han Yi and Lu Wei had entered the cave dwelling, the Pan family could not locate them. Within the cave, Han Yi commenced the process of channeling qi into his body. With the memories of the venerable Master Ning Yue, he discovered that he faced no obstacles in his cultivation breakthrough. Channeling qi into the body is a process. Some individuals, endowed with extraordinary talent, may accomplish this feat in a single day, while others, of more average gifts, may struggle with this bottleneck for their entire lives. Han Yi consumed a superior-grade qi channeling pill, and with the aid of Master Ning Yue's memories, he was confident that he would soon succeed in channeling qi into his body. He sensed the spiritual energy beyond his corporeal form and began to draw it in, impacting his heavenly acupoint. Before long, Han Yi felt as if a cavern had opened atop his head, through which a beam of spiritual light radiated. He perceived a surge of energy rushing into him, penetrating his internal organs and meridians, ultimately settling in his lower dantian. In an instant, this energy coalesced into a small qi sphere within his dantian. Han Yi recognized that this diminutive sphere represented his qi si. As he became aware of this phenomenon, he found it exceedingly intriguing. It appeared that he had indeed transcended the bottleneck of his cultivation and had stepped into the realm of qi training. Upon entering the qi training stage, a subtle pressure emanated from him, resonating in all directions. A wisp of this energy also enveloped Lu Wei. She had been perusing the Luan Feng Himing technique that Han Yi had pinned for her when she suddenly sensed the aura he projected, causing her to gasp in astonishment. Had he truly broken through? It seemed implausible. Just a single day had passed. It was rumored that only the inner sect prodigies could channel qi into their bodies within a day. Who would have thought that the young master possessed such remarkable ability? It was utterly astounding. At that moment, Lu Wei rose and approached Han Yi, regarding him with incredulity. Young master, you have broken through. Lu Wei inquired. Indeed, I have successfully channeled qi into my body, officially stepping into the realm of Qi training, and I can now be regarded as a true practitioner. Han Yi replied, Congratulations, young master. I never anticipated that although I am a few years your senior, you would surpass me, Lu Wei remarked. Sister Lu Wei, you must broaden your perspective. You are destined to become my woman, and henceforth, as you accompany me, I shall not only elevate my own cultivation to greater heights, but will also assist you in enhancing yours. Han Yi declared. Is that truly the case? Lu Wei stammered. Taken aback, you promised that should I channel Qi into my body, you would aid me in mutual cultivation to enhance our powers, Han Yi reiterated. At his words, Lu Wei felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. She could hardly believe that the once naive boy whom she had mentored had matured into such a formidable figure, now intending to take her as his wife. Though Lu Wei found it somewhat difficult to accept, the thought of Han Yi's promise to help her transcend her cultivation brought forth a flicker of yearning within her. Chapter 17. Remarkable Progress. Qi Refinement Level 3. At that moment, Han Yi inquired, Have you comprehended the Luanfeng He Ming Ju I wrote for you? Lu Wei nodded, then shook her head, shyly admitting, I still do not fully understand. Han Yi pondered for a moment and replied with a smile. It is perfectly all right if you haven't grasped it yet. The essence of the Luanfeng He Ming Ju lies in practice rather than theory. What matters is that we test the truth through practical application. Practice? What kind of practice? Lu Wei asked. Pointing toward the stone bed, Han Yi said, Sister Lu Wei, at this moment, there is no need for shyness. Rest assured, today you are my woman, and you shall remain so for a lifetime. Upon hearing this, Lu Wei took a deep breath and nodded, moving toward the stone bed. Although she was merely at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, Han Yi had already reached the Qi refinement stage. The chasm between their realms was as vast as the heavens and the earth. Lu Wei instinctively felt a sense of trepidation towards Han Yi. Having previously practiced the Luanfeng He Ming Ju in the Grand Hall of the Inner Sect, Han Yi was now prepared to utilize it once more without difficulty. He first ingested a high-grade Luanfeng Gathering Qi pill, gifted to him by Qin Huizhu. As he circulated his breath, the pill descended into his Dantian's Qi Si. At that moment, Han Yi noticed a small flicker of flame emerging within his Dantian's Qi Si. Surprised by this tiny flame, Han Yi realized that, despite being a mere scion of a small family, he possessed the vast knowledge from the memories of the esteemed Ning Yue. Through these memories, Han Yi discerned that this small flame was a manifestation of his unique constitution. When Ning Yue had taken over his body, he had named this constitution. Now, Han Yi could feel that this flame originated from his own physique, the soul-devouring demon flame body. This constitution held immense destructive power against sinister and malevolent entities, such as those involved in corpse refinement, souls, and shadow beasts. In fact, Ning Yue's spectral presence could be deemed a malevolent being. Thus, when confronted with Han Yi's soul-devouring demon flame body, it was not only annihilated but thoroughly refined, leading to the integration of Ning Yue's memories and legacy into Han Yi's own being. Possessing such a constitution, Han Yi realized that anyone attempting to seize control of his body in the future would inevitably be refined by his unique traits, and their memories and legacies would become a part of him. Contemplating these revelations, Han Yi felt a surge of excitement. He truly hoped that powerful beings from around the world would seek to seize him. In that case, he would acquire their memories and legacies, rendering him invincible. In a moment of contemplation, Han Yi suddenly realized that Lu Wei had already removed the black leather armor from his body, leaving her standing before him like a delicate white sculpture. Han Yi bit his lip, fueled by a surge of emotion, and lunged towards Lu Wei. Gradually, a warm, spring-like atmosphere enveloped the cave. However, such blissful moments are often fleeting. Han Yi had circulated the Phoenix and Phoenix Harmony technique for one cycle, and he had successfully refined a third of the Phoenix Gathering Pill. At this rate, it would not be long before he could refine a complete Phoenix Gathering Pill and ascend to the 2nd level of Qi cultivation. Han Yi was confident that this progress would soon lead him to the 9th level of Qi cultivation. At this moment, Han Yi took stock of his body and discovered that his ability to swiftly refine the Phoenix Gathering Pill was closely linked to his physical constitution. During his body refinement stage, his physique was in a semi-awakened state. While this state provided some protection, it did not aid him in refining elixirs. Now that he had reached the Qi cultivation stage, his constitution had fully awakened, granting him the capacity to rapidly refine pills and break through cultivation barriers. This realization filled Han Yi with excitement. If this continued, he would soon advance from the 1st to the 2nd level of Qi cultivation. He pondered whether the Pan family members were still outside. If they remained, once his cultivation reached a certain height, he would certainly confront them. In the following days, Han Yi diligently practiced within the cave. During his leisure moments, he also began to master the various techniques left in his memories by the revered elder Ning Yue. such as the sword flight technique, fireball technique, talisman manipulation, and various sword techniques. Of course, Han Yi could also access the Earth-level Supreme Sword Technique. The Shaking Heaven Sword Technique, renowned as the most formidable and terrifying skill of the Shaking Heaven Sword sect. With Elder Ning Yue's memories and legacy, Han Yi could easily wield this powerful technique. However, as an outer disciple, using the Shaking Heaven Sword Technique would undoubtedly attract unwanted attention. Thus, despite possessing this technique, Han Yi was well aware of the need for discretion. Nevertheless, he was still able to discover a technique that suited him perfectly within Elder Ning Yue's memories, such as the Fire Dragon technique. Previously, Cheng Jingwen had gifted Han Yi a Fire Dragon sword and a Fire Dragon armor. These items complemented the Fire Dragon technique, allowing him to unleash its formidable power. Now that Han Yi had reached the Qi cultivation stage and possessed the Fire Dragon technique, he could defeat the vast majority of opponents at his level. Indeed, while having a powerful technique for protection is essential for any cultivator traversing the cultivation world, the utmost importance lies in maintaining a low profile. Therefore, the concealment technique is also a crucial skill for cultivators. Han Yi found a set of high-grade concealment techniques in Elder Ning Yue's memories, which could obscure his aura and make it difficult for others to detect his cultivation level. Thus, Han Yi unreservedly began to perceive the Qi concealment technique. He believed this technique would prove invaluable in the future. Although his cultivation was currently at a nascent stage, he faced no significant obstacles in manipulating various Taoist arts with his magical energy. The sole limitation was his weak Qi Si, which could not provide sufficient magical energy, necessitating frequent pauses to rest after each exertion. Lu Wei, witnessing Han Yi's adept application of diverse Taoist techniques, was filled with admiration for him. Naturally, as Han Yi's partner in dual cultivation, she had already become his woman, her gaze exclusively fixed upon him. Unbeknownst to them, 10 days had swiftly elapsed. During this time, Han Yi successfully refined 2 Phoenix Essence Body Refining Pills, elevating his cultivation to the 3rd level of Qi refinement. He also realized that as one ascends in cultivation, the speed of refining the pills diminishes, which accounted for the 10 days it took to reach this level. Chapter 18, Spirit Weaving Technique. Weaving the golden net of entangled threads upon attaining the 3rd level of Qi refinement, Han Yi felt his Dantian's Qi Si brimming with spiritual energy, instilling him with a newfound courage, rendering him unafraid of the Pan family and contemplating a return to the Han family. After all, Han Yi was a member of the Han clan. Given the current oppression from the Pan family, he wondered about the fate of his kin. Now that he had reached the 3rd level of Qi refinement, he might be able to assist the Han family. Of course, if the Han family was not in dire straits, Han Yi would commence the refinement of high-quality Qi gathering pills and continue his cultivation alongside Lu Wei. Husband, before this, you promised to help me obtain a high-quality Qi-inducing pill. Lu Wei exclaimed. Very well. This location has Qi-chan grass, which can substitute for the core material in the recipe for the Qi-inducing pill, enhancing its quality. We can gather some Qi-chan grass here and then head to the market to purchase other medicinal materials. At that point, I shall be able to refine the high-quality Qi-inducing pill, Han Yi replied, nodding in agreement. Husband, are you truly going to refine the high-quality Qi-inducing pill yourself? Lu Wei asked, somewhat astonished. Why not? I am, after all, a genius. Han Yi responded with a hint of pride. After a moment's contemplation, he added, however, in the world of cultivation, one must learn to conceal their talents. Otherwise, calamity may ensue. Thus, you need only be aware of my endeavors. Do not speak of them loudly. I understand, husband. Lu Wei nodded affirmatively. As Han Yi prepared to depart, he suddenly recalled the golden spirit silkworms in the vicinity, leading him to entertain certain thoughts. Although Cheng Jingwen had gifted him a set of fire dragon armor, in the realm of cultivation, possessing additional means of survival is always beneficial. Presently, Han Yi also contemplated mastering the spirit weaving technique. Now at the 3rd level of Qi refinement, he possessed the capability to refine materials into general-grade mystical fabrics. Moreover, his memory held several weaving techniques innovated by Ancestor Ning Yue, such as the creation of stockings and alluring intimate apparel. Han Yi found these notions somewhat amusing. However, glancing at Lu Wei beside him, a spark of inspiration ignited within him. With his advancement to the 3rd level of Qi refinement, he could truly be considered a cultivator. As a cultivator, one can harness their magical prowess to master various celestial techniques, such as alchemy, artifact forging, talisman crafting, and array formations. Han Yi, having acquired the memories of the esteemed Elder Ning Yue, since that these techniques did not require further cultivation on his part, he had already attained complete mastery over them. Provided he had sufficient materials, Han Yi could effortlessly engage in alchemy, artifact forging, talisman crafting, and array formations. Elder Ning Yue excelled particularly in the art of spirit weaving, a legacy that Han Yi now possessed. In this place, abundant with golden silkworm threads, Han Yi needed only to collect some of this precious material to weave a variety of garments. Thus, he contemplated utilizing this spirit weaving technique. However, he pondered what exactly he should create. In a fleeting moment of thought, his gaze fell upon the long, exquisite legs of Lu Wei. If he could weave a pair of black stockings, they would undoubtedly enhance the beauty of her splendid legs. With this notion, Han Yi couldn't help but chuckle. "My husband, why do you gaze at my legs so?" Lu Wei inquired. "I suddenly thought of something," Han Yi replied. "What is it?" Lu Wei asked. "Isn't there an abundance of golden silkworm threads in this cave? I wish to try and see if I can weave some protective garments," Han Yi declared. "My husband, what are you thinking? Weaving protective garments requires spirit weaving. Not everyone can accomplish that," Lu Wei cautioned. "Spirit weaving is merely a skill. It's not particularly difficult. For now, I shall start with something simple," Han Yi assured her. "And what do you plan to weave?" Lu Wei queried. "Well, I believe your lovely long legs deserve proper protection, so I shall weave you a pair of socks," Han Yi responded with a grin. Upon hearing this, Lu Wei furrowed her brow, uncertain whether Han Yi was serious. Without further ado, Han Yi began to gather the golden silkworm threads present in the vicinity. Although he could not control the golden spiritual silkworms, collecting their threads posed no significant challenge, as long as he avoided provoking them. Han Yi circled among the mulberry trees and quickly amassed a considerable amount of golden silkworm threads. He then activated the spirit weaving technique and commenced the weaving of the black stockings. This was Han Yi's first attempt at spirit weaving, despite being a novice. He did not feel the least bit clumsy, as though he had been born with the skill. Lu Wei watched in astonishment as Han Yi worked. She could hardly fathom that he, having only recently entered the Qi refinement stage, was already proficient in spirit weaving, which left her quite bewildered. Several hours later, a pair of black stockings had been woven. Observing the finished product, Lu Wei frowned and asked, "My husband, why are these stockings so long? They seem rather peculiar." "They are stockings, meant to be worn all the way up to the thighs," Han Yi explained with a smile. Lu Wei, seeing the situation, thought little of it and slipped the black stockings onto her legs. She smiled and remarked, "These stockings are quite warm." "Certainly. This silk stocking is crafted from golden silkworm silk, possessing formidable defensive qualities. Once donned, it will enable you to evade numerous dangers," Han Yi remarked. "Thank you, my husband," Lu Wei replied with a smile. In their exchange, Han Yi and Lu Wei utilized the golden silkworm silk to weave various garments, including attire for both Han Yi and Lu Wei. The purpose of Han Yi's endeavors was, of course, to mitigate risks in the future. Furthermore, he recalled a treasured item once possessed by old ancestor Ning Yue, known as the entangled silk net. This net could be employed to ensnare various demonic beasts and spirit creatures, or to set traps against adversaries. With the entangled silk net in hand, Han Yi felt significantly more secure in his future hunts and confrontations. Regrettably, Han Yi, currently at the 3rd level of Qi refinement, could only forge a net of the quality of an Xian grade treasure. Nonetheless, even such treasures are immensely formidable. Once deployed, should a cultivator at the foundation establishment stage fall into its grasp, they could very well meet their demise. Such was the terror of the entangled silk net. Contemplating this, Han Yi promptly channeled his spiritual energy to manipulate the golden silkworm silk and began weaving the entangled silk net. This endeavor piqued Lu Wei's curiosity. "My husband, what are you doing?" she inquired. "I am crafting a defensive entangled silk net," Han Yi responded. "Is that net used for hunting demonic beasts?" Lu Wei asked. "Indeed." Han Yi nodded affirmatively. "However, I fear the crafting of the entangled silk net may not be so simple," Lu Wei remarked. "It does present some challenges. Yet with my mastery of spiritual weaving technique, it is not overly difficult," Han Yi assured her. As the day passed, a magnificent golden net materialized before Han Yi. This colossal golden net had achieved the quality of a superior Xian grade treasure. Escaping its confines would be a formidable task for any ordinary individual. Upon witnessing the entangled silk net, Han Yi smiled in satisfaction. With this net in his possession, Han Yi felt a renewed sense of security in navigating the realm of cultivation. Meanwhile, Lu Wei, observing Han Yi skillfully weaving both magical garments and the entangled silk net from the golden silkworm silk, was taken aback. Although she was merely at the 9th level of body refinement, she possessed considerable knowledge of the art of cultivation. She understood that many celestial techniques are not easily mastered. The spiritual weaving technique, in particular, demands both patience and meticulousness. Yet, Han Yi wielded the spiritual weaving technique with such ease, effortlessly crafting various magical garments, especially the stockings, which were not only ultra-thin and breathable, but also endowed with remarkable defensive properties. Thus, Lu Wei felt certain that Han Yi had encountered some exceptional fate. Lost in her thoughts, she felt assured that following Han Yi in the future was undoubtedly the right choice. After completing the various magical garments and the entangled silk net, Han Yi gathered a substantial amount of golden silkworm silk, contemplating his departure from the area. Soon, Han Yi and Lu Wei stepped out of the cave. As they emerged into the light, Han Yi took a deep breath. "My dear, do you think the Pan family is still searching for us after half a month?" Lu Wei inquired. "Who knows? Didn't you mention that the so-called fetal gold vein is nearby? If that is the case, the Pan family is likely still looking for us. Of course, they had better not come after us. Should they do so, I shall eradicate them entirely," Han Yi replied. As they conversed, the two made their way into the jungle. Having reached the 3rd level of Qi training, Han Yi's spiritual sense had grown stronger, enabling him to detect movements from as far as 300 meters in any direction. This ability would prove useful in his quest for the Qichan herb. Thus, Han Yi began his search for medicinal materials. However, after several hours of searching, he found nothing, leaving him somewhat disappointed. Fortunately, Han Yi possessed the memories of old ancestor Ning Yue, who had once searched for the Qichan herb in this very mountain range. Consequently, he knew the locations where this herb was abundant. Without further ado, he led Lu Wei towards a nameless valley that he was confident would contain a wealth of Qichan herbs. At this point, Han Yi summoned his flying sword and soared high into the sky, with Lu Wei tightly holding onto him from behind. While Lu Wei harbored doubts about Han Yi's ability to concoct superior Qi induction pills, she could not help but believe, for this was the best way for her to break through to the Qi training stage. Before long, Han Yi guided Lu Wei to a valley. After a brief search, he indeed discovered the Qichan herb. Han Yi was compelled to acknowledge the intriguing validity of old ancestor Ning Yue's memories. He located 3 Qichan herbs and prepared to depart. Having reached the 3rd level of Qi training, Han Yi wished to return to the Han family to assess the situation. If all was well, he intended to continue his cultivation. With this opportunity at hand, Han Yi was eager to elevate his cultivation level. However, just as he was about to leave, he noticed a figure rushing towards him and Lu Wei. The figure looked somewhat familiar. In a moment of thought, Han Yi suddenly recalled that this was the woman who had previously hunted the Qingfu Qichan beast. Seeing her, Han Yi was taken aback. What happened to her? Why is she still here? He exclaimed. Lu Wei speculated. Perhaps she has encountered trouble? Han Yi noted. The last time I saw her, she was with a large group. As they spoke, the woman from the Gu family arrived before Han Yi and Lu Wei. Although she was originally at the Qi training stage, her magical energy had been entirely depleted from her frantic escape, leaving her reliant solely on her physical strength. When the young woman from the Gu family approached Han Yi and Lu Wei, she likely assumed they were there to confront her, resulting in her startled stumble, which led her to fall right before them. Han Yi, upon seeing the Gu family maiden, couldn't help but chuckle. "My dear lady, last time you were sent flying by a beast and fell at my feet. Today, fate has once again brought you to the ground before me. Truly, we are quite fated." The Gu family maiden, taken aback by his words, recognized Han Yi and Lu Wei. Previously, she had underestimated them due to their mere body refinement cultivation and thought them foolish for venturing into such perilous territory. To her surprise, they were still present. Rising to her feet, she queried, "You, why are you still here?" Han Yi replied, "It's nothing much. We merely came to seek some spiritual herbs. Now that we have found what we need, we are preparing to depart." The Gu family maiden, hearing his response, chose not to engage further and began to leave. However, at that moment, a figure appeared, pursuing her relentlessly. Han Yi glanced up and recognized that the figure was one of the Qi refinement experts from the Pan family who had previously hunted him. "It's a member of the Pan family," Lu Wei exclaimed. "They are still here," Han Yi remarked. "It seems they have come to pursue the Gu family maiden." Lu Wei noted, "It appears that during my seclusion in the cave, the Pan family has not departed but instead has become entangled with the Gu family. Indeed, otherwise, they would have left long ago." Lu Wei agreed. "Since the Pan family remains, I, Han Yi, shall not show them any mercy. I want them all to perish here," Han Yi declared. "But, dear husband, there are 3 Qi refinement experts from the Pan family. Can you face them alone?" Lu Wei cautioned. "They are separated now, allowing me to strike them down one by one," Han Yi asserted. Determined to act, he was resolute in his intent to eliminate the members of the Pan family. At that moment, as the Pan family's members approached, Han Yi prepared to confront them. The pursuing Pan family members soon spotted Han Yi. Among them was Pan He, a practitioner at the 1st level of Qi refinement, who had come solely to hunt the Gu family maiden. However, in his frantic pursuit, he unexpectedly encountered Han Yi and Lu Wei. Initially, Pan He and his companions had set out to hunt Han Yi, but upon arriving, they found him and Lu Wei had mysteriously vanished. Consequently, they shifted their focus to the Gu family, resulting in a fierce conflict. Taking advantage of the Gu family's beast-hunting endeavors, the Pan family launched a surprise attack, ultimately scattering the Gu family. Their aim was to annihilate the Gu family entirely in this encounter. Yet, despite their efforts, one member managed to escape, a lone Gu family maiden in the realm of Qi refinement. Pan He had initially set his sights on the woman from the Gu family, intending to eliminate her once her magical energy was nearly depleted. However, he unexpectedly encountered Han Yi and Lu Wei once more. Taken aback, Pan He turned his gaze towards them. In his estimation, both Han Yi and Lu Wei were merely at the body refinement stage, and he believed he could easily slay them. He thought to himself that after dispatching Han Yi and Lu Wei, he would deal with the Gu family woman without delay. This time, Pan He was cautious. He did not wish for Han Yi to escape once again on the Thunder Steed. Chapter 20. Dealing with Pan He. Encountering the Gu family woman again at this moment, Pan He looked at Han Yi and coldly remarked, "You little thief, I did not expect to see you here." Han Yi retorted, "And I wish to inquire why you remain here." "Ridiculous. This Qingsang town is now the territory of my Pan family. We come and go as we please. As for you two, since you are still here, you shall perish here," Pan He declared. "This time, I will not afford you the chance to flee." "Huh? Who said I intend to escape?" Han Yi replied. "If you do not plan to flee, do you wish to engage me in a duel?" Pan He questioned. "I do not seek a duel. I intend to kill you," Han Yi asserted. As he spoke, Han Yi conjured a sword in his hand, the fire dragon sword bestowed upon him by Qingsang. This sword resonated perfectly with a profound technique from his memories. The fire dragon art. Coupled with Han Yi's innate affinity for fire, this technique was exceptionally formidable. In the confines of the cave, he had already wielded the fire dragon sword and executed the fire dragon art, experiencing its immense power. Now, facing Pan He, Han Yi was not hesitant to unleash this technique. Han Yi's eyes locked onto Pan He, who merely sneered, clearly dismissing Han Yi's threat. Pan He could not discern Han Yi's true strength, as Han Yi had concealed his aura with a technique. Believing Han Yi to be merely at the 9th level of body refinement, Pan He felt no trepidation. "You brat, had you not fled swiftly back then, you would have perished. Now, you dare to act so arrogantly before me. I shall show you my true power," Pan He boasted. As a practitioner at the Qi refinement stage, he was confident that his superior cultivation would allow him to dispatch Han Yi effortlessly. With that, Pan He launched his attack, channeling his sword and gathering his magical energy, unleashing a powerful strike. The sword energy surged forth like a torrential river, hurtling towards Han Yi. The ferocity of this attack was overwhelming. Any ordinary practitioner at the body refinement stage would undoubtedly meet their demise under such an assault. However, at that moment, Han Yi gripped the fire dragon sword and retaliated fiercely. A wave of sword energy, resembling a fiery dragon, surged toward Pan He. Pan He, witnessing Han Yi's counterattack, was momentarily stunned, rubbing his eyes in disbelief, convinced he was witnessing an illusion. He is merely at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Yet how is it that the sword energy he wields possesses such formidable magical power? Moreover, it is a potent fire attribute technique. Pan He was momentarily taken aback, but soon regained his composure. He understood that Han Yi's attack was exceedingly fierce and violent, far beyond his capacity to counter. In his mind, a sense of panic began to rise. To him, Han Yi's display was sufficient to annihilate him. Thus, at that moment, he felt an urgent need to retreat swiftly. However, just as this thought crossed his mind, Han Yi's sword energy surged forth like a colossal fire dragon, roaring past him. It first shattered his own sword energy assault, then rushed towards him with overwhelming force. Seeing this, Pan He attempted to flee, but it was already too late. The fire dragon's sword energy swept over him, engulfing his entire being in flames. Pan He let out a heart-wrenching scream, rolling on the ground in a desperate attempt to extinguish the flames. Yet, the might of the fire unleashed by the fire dragon technique only filled him with despair. In an instant, Pan He was reduced to a pile of charred remains by Han Yi's flames. Han Yi, astonished by his own prowess, had effortlessly slain Pan He with a single strike. He mused inwardly. Truly, the fire dragon technique of the high-grade mysterious level is impressive. Possessing this technique will undoubtedly allow me to resolve many troubles. Regrettably, my Siyu Han, he discovered that the woman from the Gu family, previously pursued by Pan He, was running towards him again, her appearance still quite disheveled. As she approached Han Yi and Lu Wei, a look of astonishment filled her eyes. Why are you still here?" she inquired. "Why shouldn't we be here?" Han Yi responded. "What about Pan He from the Pan family?" she asked. "Pan He, the one who was chasing you?" Han Yi replied. "Yes, just a moment ago. He was pursuing me, but it seems he stopped," the Gu woman explained. "He is dead," Han Yi declared. "What? Dead?" she exclaimed in disbelief. At that moment, Han Yi gestured toward a pile of charred remains in the distance and said, "Indeed, right over there." Did you kill him? The good woman asked, her surprise evident. In her eyes, Han Yi and Lu Wei were merely practitioners at the body refinement stage, and logically, they should not be able to contend with Pan He. The Pan family is at odds with my Han family. Since Pan He sought to kill me, I certainly could not let him escape. Han Yi stated confidently. How could you possibly have killed him? Are you at the Qi refinement stage? The Gu woman questioned skeptically. Indeed, I have reached the Qi refinement stage, Han Yi affirmed. If that is the case, could you assist me? She asked. Assist you with what? Han Yi inquired. There are still members of the Pan family pursuing me. I hope you can find a way to save me. The Gu woman pleaded. More members of the Pan family? Han Yi paused, his consciousness extending towards the direction behind her. He soon spotted a group approaching rapidly from a mile away, led by the brothers Pan Zhi and Pan Lai, accompanied by several other practitioners from the Pan family at the body refinement stage. Now understanding why the Gu woman had fled only to return, Han Yi realized she had been intercepted by the Pan brothers, forcing her to turn back. However, she had not anticipated encountering Han Yi again and learning that he had slain Pan He, which left her utterly astonished. Chapter 21. The fierce pursuit of the Pan family in the realm of cultivation. Those of higher ranks often looked down upon those beneath them. The Gu woman, having reached the Qi refinement stage, initially regarded Han Yi and Lu Wei with disdain. Yet now, upon hearing that Han Yi had attained the same rank, a flattering smile crept onto her face. At this juncture, she introduced herself, saying, I am Gu Yingqi, a scion of the Gu family. Han Yi nodded and replied, I am Han Yi, and this is my wife, Lu Wei. I have heard about the conflicts between your Han family and the Pan family. It seems you have been under their oppressive thumb, struggling to hold your head high. Now it appears these Pan family members are indeed quite audacious. Daring to attack my Gu family, Gu Yingqi remarked. Hee, Missing Qi, are your people all? Han Yi wanted to inquire further, but suddenly halted. When he first arrived here, Gu Yingqi had led a large group into this beast hunt. Now, seeing only Gu Yingqi and none of the others, Han Yi could not help but suspect that the members of the Gu family had perished in this place. They have all perished. I barely escaped and have been relentlessly pursued by them. Our venture to hunt beasts this time has indeed brought us misfortune, Gu Yingqi lamented. But the Pan family seems to bear no grudge against your Gu family. Han Yi questioned. Indeed, we have no enmity with the Pan family. But upon witnessing us hunt the Qingfu Qichon beast, they set their sights on us. You must know that the Qingfu Qichon beast is of considerable value. And we have slain several, Gu Yingqi explained. Regarding the reason why the Pan family would act against them, Gu Yingqi only had preliminary conjectures and was unaware of the true circumstances. So, they are driven by greed. Han Yi surmised. One could say that. Gu Yingqi affirmed. In that case, this situation may be partly my fault. Had I not shared with you how to hunt the Qingfu Qichon beast, those Pan family members might not have troubled you. Han Yi sighed deeply. Upon hearing this, Gu Yingqi shook her head and said, Young Master Han, it cannot be said that way. We can only blame those from the Pan family for their inhumanity. Han Yi nodded and reassured her, Missing Qi, do not worry. Since the Pan family is so audacious, today, I shall eradicate them all here. At that moment, Gu Yingqi glanced back and said, Young Master Han, I wish for your assistance, not in dealing with the Pan family, but in helping me leave this place. Did you not have a wind thunder steed before? Why leave? We can confront them directly. Han Yi responded. But they are numerous, and among them are two formidable Qi refining realm experts, Gu Yingqi countered. What of the Qi refining realm experts? No matter how many there are, I have nothing to fear, Han Yi declared. But, Missing Qi, let there be no buts. I shall take care of this matter. I am determined to vanquish all those from the Pan family here. Han Yi insisted. Is that true? Gu Yingqi looked at Han Yi skeptically. Of course it is true, Han Yi affirmed. Han Yi's return to the Han family was aimed at assisting his clan against the Pan family. Now, if he could slay some of the Pan family's powerful members here, it would undoubtedly alleviate some pressure on the Han family. Thus, Han Yi felt confident in his abilities and awaited the arrival of the Pan family members without hesitation. Before long, Pan Zhi and Pan Lai, leading a host of Pan family disciples, arrived at Han Yi's location. In an instant, a standoff formed between Han Yi and the Pan family members. On Han Yi's side, Gu Yingqi had exhausted her magical energy and sustained grave injuries, rendering her unable to fight, while Lu Wei's cultivation was merely at the body refinement stage. Thus, Han Yi found himself alone in this predicament. At this moment, Pan Zhi and Pan Lai scrutinized Han Yi and his companions. Pan Zhi's gaze shifted toward Han Yi as he remarked, You've lingered here for 10 days. Since that is the case, you shall not leave today. As his words echoed, a multitude of Pan family disciples soon materialized, encircling Han Yi, Lu Wei, and Gu Yingqi. Having entered the Qi refinement stage, Han Yi's spiritual awareness had significantly sharpened. In fact, he had already sensed the Pan family's approach through his heightened perception. His reluctance to depart stemmed from a disregard for these adversaries. With a cold smile, Han Yi replied, Pan Ji, Pan Lai. Your family has relentlessly pursued my Han family over the years, seeking to usurp our assets, mines, and resources, while ruthlessly suppressing us and claiming the lives of many. Today, your audacity to threaten me leaves me no choice but to respond in kind. I assure you, since you have come here, you shall meet your end. The boldness of Han Yi's declaration momentarily rendered Pan Ji and Pan Lai speechless, as they questioned whether he had lost his sanity. In their eyes, Han Yi was merely a recent initiate, having just passed the outer sect examination. They could scarcely fathom the audacity that fueled his words. Observing their bewildered expressions, Han Yi recognized that his mastery of concealment techniques had successfully masked his true cultivation level, leading them to underestimate him. Having reached the 3rd level of Qi refinement, he felt no trepidation in facing Pan Ji, who was at the 5th level, or Pan Lai, who was also at the 3rd level. With the memories of the esteemed Elder Ning now coursing through him, Han Yi had inherited a fragment of his fortitude. The former Elder Ning had often transcended boundaries with ease. Although Han Yi possessed formidable techniques capable of overpowering the two, his intention was not merely to defeat them, but to obliterate them entirely. Moreover, Han Yi aimed to annihilate the entire Pan family contingent. However, the range of his techniques was limited, rendering it impossible to achieve such a feat. Thus, the most effective strategy lay in utilizing the fire explosive talismans. Upon leaving the inner sect, Lu Jiejia had gifted him 10 fire explosive talismans, each a high-grade mystic talisman. By wielding these talismans against his foes, he could unleash devastating destruction. Han Yi was confident that by casting just 3 of these talismans in the current scenario, he could eradicate the entire assembly of the Pan family. With this resolve, he carefully surveyed his surroundings, poised to deploy the fire explosive talismans at any moment. At this juncture, all he required was the opportune moment to unleash their wrath. Chapter 22. The fire explosive talismans display their might, reducing enemies to ashes. Han Yi was fully prepared, awaiting the arrival of the Pan family disciples. As soon as they charged forward, he would unleash 3 fire-exploding talismans. He glanced back at Guangqi and Lu Wei, cautioning them, when I strike, my force will be exceedingly fierce, so you must exercise caution to avoid any injury. Upon hearing Han Yi's warning, Guangqi and Lu Wei exchanged astonished glances, uncertain of how Han Yi would confront the multitude of Pan family members. At that moment, Pan Ji's lips curled into a cold smile as he remarked, Han Yi, I am well aware of your circumstances. You are merely at the 7th level of body refinement, having just completed the outer sect examination. Your current strength is utterly insignificant. Underestimating my power will be your folly. Go ahead and make your move. Today, I shall certainly broaden your horizons. Very well. I am eager to witness your capabilities. Pan Ji replied. Without further contemplation, he summoned his sword and charged at Han Yi. Observing Pan Ji's solitary advance, Han Yi mused that Pan Ji was courting death. Firmly grasping his sword, he activated the Fire Dragon technique. A formidable surge of fiery energy erupted forth from Han Yi, manifesting as a fire dragon. As Pan Ji rushed towards Han Yi, he was momentarily stunned by the display of power. How is this possible? This brat is merely at the 7th level of body refinement. How can he manipulate such spells? This defies logic. Upon closer inspection, Pan Ji discerned that Han Yi's cultivation had reached the 3rd level of Qi refinement, while Pan Ji himself was at the 5th level. Thus, it could be said that Pan Ji possessed a slight edge in strength. However, as he sensed the impending onslaught of Han Yi's sword energy, a wave of fear washed over him. Han Yi's sword energy, resembling a fiery dragon, surged towards Pan Ji. Despite Pan Ji's superior cultivation, he found himself at a loss against Han Yi's fire dragon. Han Yi's fiery might swiftly shattered Pan Ji's sword energy. In a fleeting moment of thought, Pan Ji summoned a magical robe to shield himself. This robe boasted formidable resistance to fire, capable of withstanding intense flames. Boom! Han Yi's sword energy collided with Pan Ji, propelling him backward. Though he did not suffer fatal injuries, Pan Ji sustained severe damage. Gritting his teeth, he could hardly believe that within just 10 days, Han Yi had ascended from a body refinement practitioner to the 3rd level of Qi refinement. He also struggled to comprehend the terrifying nature of Han Yi's technique. Fortunately, the magical robe had absorbed a considerable portion of Han Yi's assault. Otherwise, he would have surely been consumed by the fire dragon. However, the robe had sustained significant damage in the process and lay in tatters. Han Yi unleashed his sword, sending Pan Ji flying. He initially believed that the force of the fire dragon would be sufficient to reduce Pan Ji to ashes, yet unexpectedly, Pan Ji managed to withstand a significant portion of the assault. This left Han Yi with a tinge of disappointment. Fortunately, Han Yi's strike had already inflicted severe damage on Pan Ji. However, Han Yi's intention today extended beyond merely defeating Pan Ji. He aimed to annihilate the entire Pan family present. Having gravely wounded Pan Ji made dealing with the others considerably easier. At this moment, Pan Ji, though unwilling to accept defeat, quickly regained his footing. He bellowed, "This boy is from the Han family. His arrogance today will undoubtedly pose a grave threat to my Pan family in the future. Therefore, we must eliminate him today. Everyone, form up and ensure his extermination." As Pan Ji shouted, numerous disciples of the Pan family arranged themselves into formation, preparing to launch an assault on Han Yi. Witnessing this scene, Han Yi merely smiled with amusement. Possessing the memories of the esteemed Ning Yue, he was well versed in the intricacies of formations. The gathering of Pan family disciples to deploy a formation against him did not instill any fear in Han Yi. "My lord, the Pan family disciples are numerous and have now formed a sword formation. Will your fire dragon technique be able to contend with this formation?" asked Lu Wei. "Such a formation is not particularly challenging to dismantle, yet dismantling it is not my objective. My aim is to slay them all here. Since they are intent on uniting in formation to kill me, I shall allow them to experience the might of the fire explosion spirit talismans," Han Yi replied. Han Yi had already intended to use the fire explosion spirit talismans against the multitude of Pan family disciples. Now that they had congregated and formed a formation, it would only enhance the talisman's effectiveness. Soon, Han Yi watched as the Pan family disciples activated their sword artifacts and solidified their formation, advancing toward him, with Pan Ji and Pan Lai being particularly prominent among them. Observing the situation, Han Yi first took a moment to analyze. The method to break a formation lies in attacking its weak points. With the memories and legacy of the venerable Ning Yue, who was also a skilled formation master with profound insights into formations, Han Yi found the gathering of Pan family disciples to be childish play. Moreover, these disciples were merely at the body refinement stage, and the formation they laid down, while sufficient to deal with ordinary beasts, would not prove so effective against a human. At this moment, Han Yi had already identified 3 weak points in the formation ahead. With a swift thought, 3 fire explosion spirit talismans flew toward the formation's vulnerabilities. Han Yi's fire explosion spirit talismans, crafted by the inner sect of the Lu family, were of the high-grade mysterious level, possessing tremendous destructive power. Even a foundation establishment expert would suffer considerable harm from the impact of these talismans. As Han Yi unleashed the fire explosion spirit talismans, the members of the Pan family were left bewildered, unable to comprehend why he had thrown out 3 talismans. Only the brothers Pan Ji and Pan Lai discerned that Han Yi's 3 talismans were indeed 3 explosive spirit talismans, possessing formidable explosive power. Strangely, the trajectory of these talismans aligned precisely with the 3 vulnerable points of their formation. "This is dire. We must retreat." Upon witnessing this, Pan Ji was struck with alarm. It was hard for him to believe that mere moments after they had set up their formation and prepared to launch an offensive, Han Yi had already identified their weaknesses and initiated an assault on their array. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Pan Ji contemplated retreating the others. However, as this thought crossed his mind, 3 resounding explosions erupted. Boom, boom, boom. The sword formation formed by the Pan family disciples collapsed instantaneously. The explosive force of the spirit talismans sent the Pan family members flying, with the majority of them perishing on the spot. Only Pan Ji and Pan Lai remained alive. As practitioners of the Qi refinement realm, they managed to conjure defensive techniques in time to withstand a significant portion of the explosive assault, thus preserving their lives. Yet, they were not unscathed. Both suffered considerable injuries, especially Pan Ji, who had already been impacted by Han Yi earlier, and this time his wounds were even more severe. Chapter 23. There is no escape. Pan Ji and Pan Lai exchanged glances. Seizing this opportunity, they summoned their flying swords and attempted to flee. Han Yi, witnessing their escape, would not allow them to elude him. As soon as they took flight, Han Yi unleashed a sword Qi imbued with the essence of a fire dragon, hurtling towards Pan Lai, who was in the 3rd level of Qi refinement. Consumed by the fire dragon, Pan Lai's body was engulfed in flames. He cried out in agony, desperately trying to shake off the inferno, but to no avail. Observing Pan Lai's plight, Han Yi shifted his gaze towards Pan Ji, who was already soaring away on his sword. Han Yi could not afford to let Pan Ji escape either. He summoned his own flying sword to pursue Pan Ji. As Han Yi focused on Pan Ji, he realized that the latter's speed, aided by a pair of wing-like artifacts, seemed to exceed his own. These wings granted Pan Ji remarkable swiftness. Noticing this, Han Yi smirked coldly and released the Wind Thunder Steed, which was slightly faster than Pan Ji's wings. Han Yi urged the Wind Thunder Steed to chase after him. Approximately an hour later, Han Yi finally closed the distance on Pan Ji. At this moment, Han Yi also recognized that their pursuit was leading them out of the Qingsang mountain range. Pan Ji, Today, you and all your companions shall perish. I will not allow you to survive. Embrace your demise, Han Yi declared. Pan Ji, feeling Han Yi's relentless pursuit, tightened his resolve. As a fifth-level practitioner of Qi refinement, he had always held a sense of pride, yet he had never found himself in such a dire predicament. Now, with Han Yi relentlessly hunting him, Pan Ji's heart was tumultuous. Pan Ji witnessed Han Yi's formidable prowess. Despite being at the fifth level of Qi refinement, he was no match for Han Yi, especially after sustaining injuries on 2 occasions. However, as he hurried forth, a glimmer of hope appeared before him, for he was nearing the location of the Tai Jin, or vein. This, or vein, had originally been discovered by the Han family, but had since been seized by the Pan clan, with numerous members stationed there. Recently, Pan Ji's uncle, Pan Shuang, had come to this place to acquire the Tai Jin for forging, and he awaited its arrival. Thus, Pan Ji believed that while he could not contend with Han Yi, his uncle would surely be able to intervene effectively. At that moment, Pan Ji sent a message to his uncle, hoping for his assistance against Han Yi. Pan Shuang, a formidable figure at the 3rd level of Foundation establishment, was one of the 2 powerful cultivators in the Pan family. He had previously slain many members of the Han family during their conflicts, instilling great fear in them. Sensing that his uncle was on his way, Pan Ji cried out, "Uncle, save me." However, just as those words escaped his lips, Han Yi's sword quivered, and a fire dragon technique was unleashed. A blazing fire dragon surged forth, colliding directly with Pan Ji. In an instant, he was engulfed in flames, transforming into a fiery figure. He writhed on the ground, roaring in agony. Observing Pan Ji's plight, a cold smile crept upon Han Yi's lips. He understood that once the fire dragon's sword energy consumed a person, they would be reduced to mere ashes, leaving Pan Ji with no escape. Yet, even as he burned, Pan Ji cried out for his uncle, "Help me." Hearing this, Han Yi furrowed his brow, aware that the Pan family boasted 2 formidable Foundation establishment warriors, Pan Ji's father, Pan Hong, and his uncle, Pan Shuang. Could it be? Has that old fool come? Han Yi felt a jolt of alarm as he caught sight of a figure rushing towards him. Feeling a surge of pressure, Han Yi was taken aback. Indeed, Pan Shuang had arrived. Sensing the impending danger, he swiftly summoned his wind and thunder steed and fled in an instant. In the blink of an eye, Pan Shuang, the uncle Pan Ji had called for, arrived at the scene. Upon witnessing his nephew being burnt alive, a wave of fury surged within him. Who has killed my nephew? Who is it? Pan Shuang bellowed, his gaze fixed in Han Yi's direction. As he scanned the surroundings with his spiritual sense, he quickly located Han Yi's silhouette. Without hesitation, he pursued Han Yi, driven by the undeniable urge for vengeance against the one who had slain his nephew. At this moment, Han Yi sensed that Pan Shuang was pursuing him from behind. He first quickened his pace, then activated his breath-concealing technique, completely shrouding his own aura. Consequently, it became exceedingly difficult for Pan Shuang to locate him through his spiritual awareness. Soon, Han Yi found himself once again amidst the dense woods of the Qingsang mountain range. A thought flickered in his mind. He harbored intentions of eliminating Pan Shuang. Han Yi was well aware that he was no match for Pan Shuang, as he was merely at the 3rd level of Qi refinement, while Pan Shuang had already attained the 3rd level of Foundation establishment. The chasm between their realms was insurmountable. Nonetheless, the assassination of Pan Shuang was not entirely out of reach. Previously, Han Yi had employed the spirit weaving technique to craft a silken net. This high-grade mystical silken net was capable of ensnaring an ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator. Moreover, the net possessed remarkable stealth. By setting it as a trap, he merely needed to wait for his prey to fall into it. If Han Yi laid down the silken net, once Pan Shuang entered its confines, Han Yi was convinced that despite Pan Chang's Foundation establishment prowess, he would surely meet his demise. Before long, Han Yi had strategically positioned the silken net within the dense forest, anticipating Pan Chang's arrival. This time, by relying solely on his own strength, Han Yi had vanquished the 4 tigers of the Pan family, effectively resolving a significant dilemma for the Han family. Now, if he could eliminate Pan Shuang, it would be tantamount to severing a major pillar of the Pan family. At that point, the Han family would no longer need to fear the oppression from the Pan family. Contemplating this, Han Yi felt a sense of pride swell within him. Just as he had set the silken net in place, he discovered that Pan Shuang was indeed charging toward his location. Soon, Pan Shuang stood before Han Yi, his eyes fixed on him, roaring, "You brat, who are you, and why do you seek to kill members of the Pan family?" Han Yi retorted, "Humph. You inquire about my identity? Very well, I shall reveal it to you. I am Han Yi, a descendant of the Han family. Your Pan family is my family's sworn enemy. Should I annihilate every last one of you, it would merely be the consequences of your own actions." Upon hearing this, Pan Shuang was momentarily perplexed. You are actually a member of the Han family? Chapter 24. To his astonishment, A Foundation establishment expert resides here. Pan Chong found it hard to believe that Han Yi was truly a member of the Han family, for he was all too familiar with their circumstances. He knew precisely how many Qi refinement experts the Han family possessed. Pan Chong discerned that Han Yi had indeed entered the Qi refinement stage. Otherwise, he could not have defeated Pan Ji. Pan Chong also speculated that Han Yi's strength might be comparable to, or even surpassing that of Pan Ji. What is so strange about being a Han family member? Han Yi inquired. You truly are arrogant, but today, regardless of who you are, you shall die. You have slain members of the Pan family, and you must pay the price. Pan Chong bellowed. That sounds quite reasonable, but even if I were to die today, it would still be worth it. Han Yi declared. What do you mean by that? Pan Chong asked. What else could it mean? Does your Pan family not have the 4 tigers? Yet now, all of your 4 tigers lie dead at my hands, not a single one spared, Han Yi replied. You claim that my relatives, Pan Ji and the others, perished at your hands? Pan Chong inquired. Indeed, Pan Rao, Pan He, Pan Lai, and Pan Ji have all met their demise by my doing. My actions serve to eliminate a substantial threat to the Han family. However, this threat remains insufficient. Should I succeed in eliminating you today, the Han family shall finally rest easy, Han Yi declared. Upon hearing this, Pan Chong could only scoff in disbelief. Youngster, I must concede that your fiery technique was indeed capable of incinerating my nephew. You possess some skill. Yet, if you believe that mere talent suffices to contend with me, you are gravely mistaken. You ought to understand the insurmountable chasm between the Qi refining and Foundation establishment realms. Now, prepare to meet your end, Pan Chong bellowed. As he spoke, his weapon surged forth, hurtling towards Han Yi. However, mid-charge, Han Yi summoned his mental energy, and a massive net ascended, ensnaring Pan Chong with precision. Trapped within the net, Pan Chong struggled fiercely, only to find that his thrashing tightened the entrapment, intensifying his discomfort. It dawned on him that he had fallen into Han Yi's trap. As a formidable Foundation establishment expert, Pan Chong could hardly fathom that a mere Qi refining practitioner could wield a potent artifact. Even if such a treasure existed, its might should be limited. Yet, upon closer inspection, Pan Chong discerned that this artifact was at least of superior Xian grade, plunging him into despair. How can this be? How could you possibly possess a superior Xian grade artifact? It's impossible, he roared. What is impossible? Han Yi retorted. Only those from intersect families possess superior Xian grade artifacts, Pan Chong asserted. Pan Chong, are you still preoccupied with the nature of your demise as it draws near? Han Yi taunted. Humph, young one, I recognize the potency of your treasure, but if I am not mistaken, controlling this vast net must deplete your own energy significantly. Pan Chong remarked. And what of it? If it allows me to end your life, a little expenditure of energy is inconsequential, Han Yi replied. At this, a faint smile crept across Pan Chang's lips. To him, Han Yi's entangling net was indeed formidable, beyond his own ability to shatter. Yet, Han Yi remained a mere third-tier Qi refining practitioner, and his energy was finite. Thus, Pan Chong calculated that if he could endure until Han Yi's energy was depleted, he could surely break free from the net. With that thought, he settled in to wait patiently. Observing Pan Chang's calm demeanor, Han Yi sensed something amiss. He understood that his energy was finite and that the duration of his control over the net was limited. If Pan Chong merely bided his time, he would eventually escape. Therefore, Han Yi realized that to secure victory, he needed to act swiftly and decisively to eliminate Pan Chong. But what method could he employ to ensure Pan Chang's demise? The most formidable treasure in Han Yi's possession is undoubtedly the Flame Explosion Spirit Talisman. This talisman possesses an exceptionally powerful destructive characteristic, and a significant feature of the Flame Explosion Spirit Talisman is its ability to accumulate might. In other words, if 7 Flame Explosion Spirit Talismans simultaneously target the same opponent, the resulting destruction will be 7-fold. Contemplating this, Han Yi felt an overwhelming surge of eagerness. At that moment, he deftly produced the remaining 7 Flame Explosion Spirit Talismans and declared, Pan Chong, your idea is rather astute. But you expect me to exhaust my magic before you escape from this silken gold net? You shall not have that opportunity. Upon hearing this, Pan Chang's gaze shifted towards Han Yi, and upon seeing the 7 talismans in Han Yi's hand, he was filled with doubt. What are those? Pan Chong inquired. These are the Flame Explosion Spirit Talismans. Han Yi replied with a smile. Flame Explosion Spirit Talismans? Aren't those exclusively sold by the Lu family's symbol crafting pavilion? Each one is worth 10,000 spirit crystal coins, Pan Chong remarked. The spirit crystal coin is a universal currency in the Tianxian continent, crafted from refined spirit stones, appearing translucent and sparkling. 10,000 spirit crystal coins constitutes a substantial fortune. It can be said that those who wield such flame explosion spirit talismans are essentially engaging in combat with currency. At this moment, Han, holding 7 flame explosion spirit talismans, was akin to attacking his adversary with wealth. Pan Shuang, do you know what the greatest characteristic of the flame explosion spirit talisman is? Han asked. What is it? Pan Shuang responded. It is the accumulation of might. I intend to hurl all 7 talismans at you, and I believe you shall find no escape, Han stated. Pan Shuang was taken aback at Han Yi's words. Bound by the silken gold net, he found himself unable to break free. He had planned to wait until Han Yi's magic was depleted before making his escape, but now, with Han Yi producing 7 flame explosion spirit talismans from the renowned symbol crafting pavilion, he was utterly astounded. Panic surged in Pan Chang's eyes. You cannot do this. I, Pan Shuang, am a cultivator of the 3rd realm of Foundation establishment. It was no easy feat for me to reach this stage. I have over 100 years of life left, and a beautiful fiancée waiting for me. You cannot kill me, Pan Shuang bellowed. Your Pan family has long oppressed my Han family. Not only did you seize our precious gold mine, but you also took control of the entire Qingsang town. I shall show you no mercy. Today, I will end your life, and the next will be the head of your Pan family, Han Yi declared. After delivering these words, Han Yi acted swiftly, hurling all 7 flame explosion spirit talismans into the air, with the memories of the venerable Ning Yue in his mind. Han Yi believed that even 5 of the mysterious grade flame explosion spirit talismans could obliterate Pan Shuang into ashes. However, to ensure absolute certainty, he chose to unleash all 7. Chapter 25. The terrifying might of the flame explosion spirit talismans. As the 7 flame explosion spirit talismans soared through the air, Pan Chang's eyes were filled with dread. Pan Shuang bellowed, You cannot do this. I can grant you anything you desire. However, Han Yi paid no heed to Pan Chang's words, focusing solely on manipulating the 7 explosive spirit talismans. In an instant, a thunderous explosion erupted, unleashing a formidable force that obliterated Pan Shuang, a cultivator at the 3rd level of Foundation establishment, reducing him to mere ash. The residual shockwave surged towards Han Yi, propelling him back 3 zhang. Taking a deep breath, Han Yi rose to his feet and gazed forward. Before him lay a vast crater, the remnants of Pan Shuang entirely annihilated by his 7 explosive spirit talismans. At that moment, Han Yi resumed his search, discovering the entangled golden web. The impact of the talismans had caused minor damage to the web, but it was of no concern. Han Yi could easily mend it. Upon completing these tasks, a faint smile graced Han Yi's lips. His return to the Han family was aimed at aiding them through their tribulations. Now, having just arrived in their territory, he had already dealt with the 4 tigers of the Pan family, as well as a significant pillar of their strength. It could be said that from this moment forth, the Han family would have far fewer worries. At that juncture, Lu Wei and Guangqi, drawn by the sound of the explosion, hurried towards Han Yi. Upon witnessing the immense crater, astonishment washed over their faces. Husband, what happened here? Did you use those explosive spirit talismans again? Lu Wei inquired. Indeed, Han Yi affirmed. You used the explosive spirit talismans to kill Pan Ji? Lu Wei asked. To slay Pan Ji, there was no need for the explosive spirit talismans. The one I annihilated with them was Pan Shuang, Pan Ji's uncle. Han Yi clarified. Husband, what do you mean? You killed Pan Shuang? Lu Wei exclaimed in shock. Pan Shuang was a 3rd level Foundation establishment cultivator, while Han Yi was merely at the 3rd level of Qi refinement. The disparity between them was vast. No one would have anticipated that Han Yi could transcend his realm to slay an opponent, which seemed utterly outrageous. Yet, upon reflection, it was not entirely impossible. After all, Han Yi was not employing his own techniques, but rather harnessing external power. Guangqi, witnessing Han Yi's prowess, was equally astonished and approached him with an inquisitive demeanor. Han Yi had no reservations and recounted the event of vanquishing Pan Shuang. Upon hearing that Han Yi had utilized 7 explosive spirit talismans in his decisive strike, she was left in awe. Han Yi, I am aware of these explosive spirit talismans. They are also known as the Wind and Cloud Explosive Talismans. Crafted solely by the Wind and Cloud Talisman Workshop. Each one is valued at 10,000 spirit crystals. You have expended 70,000 spirit crystals in this attack alone. And with the previous 3, that totals 100,000 spirit crystals. Young Master Han, your expenditure is truly extravagant. Guangqi exclaimed. It's not so bad. In truth, these explosive spirit talismans were not purchased with my own funds. I merely acquired them by chance, so there is no regret, Han Yi replied. Han Yi was well aware that the Flame Burst Spirit Talisman was of immense value. However, although this talisman was crafted by the Lu family, its lineage traced back to the esteemed Master Ning Yue. Master Ning Yue was a renowned talisman maker, and it was he who imparted the art of talisman crafting to Lu Jiejia, enabling the Lu family to ascend from the inner sect to become a prominent family within the Hantian Sword sect. The Lu family's formidable talisman-making skills also gave rise to the illustrious Fengyun Talisman Tower, which gained fame across the Tianxian continent. Thus, it was evident that the Lu family's strength was inextricably linked to Master Ning Yue's assistance. Now, sensing the power of the flame-burst spirit talisman, Han Yi mused that with Master Ning Yue's legacy within him, crafting talismans should pose no significant challenge. He wondered if he could also create treasures like the flame-burst spirit talisman. Yet, upon delving deeper into Master Ning Yue's memories, Han Yi found himself shaking his head. Clearly, producing the flame-burst spirit talisman was not a simple endeavor. Although Han Yi possessed the knowledge of talisman crafting, he lacked suitable materials. The core ingredient for the flame-burst spirit talisman, the flame-burst sand, was indeed elusive. Most of the nearby mines for flame-burst sand had already fallen under the control of the Lu family, who also purchased it at exorbitant prices, making it difficult for others to acquire. However, upon further reflection, Han Yi believed that nothing was impossible. If the market did not yield flame-burst sand, he could seek out the mines himself. Prospecting was also a form of celestial technique. With the prospecting method, one could explore the surrounding areas for the desired ores. If Han Yi could master this prospecting technique, locating flame-burst sand would not prove overly difficult. Thus, amidst his thoughts, Han Yi was inspired to craft the flame-burst spirit talisman. Of course, his intention for creating the talisman was solely for self-defense. He had no aspirations to bolster his family's power. After all, Han Yi was cognizant of the fact that he had once been possessed by Master Ning Yue. Should he draw too much attention, it was likely that both the inner sect's elder he and spies from the Qijiao sect and the Silver Moon sect would suspect him to be Master Ning Yue, leading to a perilous pursuit. At that moment, Han Yi turned to Qingsang and inquired, "Miss Qingsang, what are your plans now?" Qingsang took a deep breath and replied, "Originally, our purpose for coming to the Qichon Mountains was to hunt the Qingfu Qichon beast. Unexpectedly, we were ambushed by the Pan family, and now, apart from myself, everyone else has perished. I have no other intentions. I merely wish to return and see what my family has to say." Miss Qingsang, if I recall correctly, your Ge family was once a prominent family among the outer sect of the Hantian Sword sect, wasn't it? Han Yi remarked. "Ah, that is but a distant memory. Since the fall of 5 foundational realm experts from my Ge family, we have transitioned from a major family in the outer sect to a minor one. Now, many of our resources have been seized by other families. Given our diminished strength, my Ge family is reluctant to stir up trouble," Qingsang responded. "Given how the Pan family has treated you, do you not intend to retaliate?" Han Yi inquired. "Haven't those who conspired against our Ge family already met their demise?" Qingsang responded. "Very well." Han Yi pondered for a moment before asking, "By the way, Miss Qingsang, your Ge family was once a prominent force among the outer sections. Might you know where I can find Yanbao sand?" Yanbao sand? Qingsang paused before answering. "Isn't that the material used to forge the Yanbao spirit talisman?" "Precisely." Han Yi nodded. You wouldn't be intending to craft the Yanbao spirit talisman yourself, would you?" Qingsang queried. "Indeed. I merely wish to experiment and see if I can forge it," Han Yi replied. "In the days of our Ge family strength, we had a vein of Yanbao sand. The sand produced was sold at a premium to the Lu family of the inner sect. However, that vein has since been seized by a prominent family from the outer sect. Thus, I regret to say I am unable to assist you in this matter." Qingsang explained. "I see." Han Yi shook his head, a hint of disappointment in his expression. Chapter 26. Return to the Han family and their plight. Han Yi had successfully dealt with the members of the Pan family, feeling quite pleased with himself. He believed that with the Pan family neutralized, the future threats to the Han family would also dissipate. As for confronting the Pan family in the future, he anticipated no significant challenges. At present, the most pressing concern for Han Yi was to enhance his cultivation. The practice of the Luanfeng harmony technique possesses a unique characteristic. Its power tends to favor the weaker practitioners. For instance, when a strong practitioner trains alongside a weaker one, the stronger individual's cultivation advancement will be comparatively slower, while the weaker individual's will accelerate. The greater the disparity in their cultivation levels, the more pronounced this effect becomes. This phenomenon is one reason why Han Yi and Wan Shuang have experienced rapid growth in their training together. Similarly, if Lu Wei's cultivation does not improve, the efficacy of their dual cultivation will be significantly diminished. Therefore, it is imperative for Han Yi to assist Lu Wei in elevating her cultivation. Only through this mutual growth can they better refine their practice of the Luanfeng harmony technique. Of course, Han Yi, now at the 3rd level of Qi refinement, could seek a practitioner of the same level for training, which would also be an excellent option. In the ensuing moments, Qingsang took her leave to return to her Ge family. Han Yi and Lu Wei then set forth together towards the Han family. With Han Yi having reached the Qi refinement stage, he was now capable of flying with his sword. At this moment, as Han Yi soared through the skies. Lu Wei clung tightly to him from behind, fearful of falling. In light of the recent events, Han Yi remained remarkably calm and composed, while Lu Wei experienced a tumult of emotions. Han Yi's tranquility stemmed from the memories of Ancestor Ning Yue, which had matured his disposition. In contrast, Lu Wei, still in the body refinement stage, found her limited experience overwhelmed by the profound occurrences of recent days, leaving her worldview profoundly shaken. Lu Wei was astounded by the cave dwelling, astonished by the dual cultivation with Han Yi, taken aback by Han Yi's spirit-weaving technique, captivated by the explosive spirit talismans, and mesmerized by Han Yi's fire dragon technique, among other marvels. However, Lu Wei had her own primary concern, her cultivation advancement. My husband, do you truly believe I can possess a qi-inducing pill and subsequently break through my cultivation? Lu Wei inquired. Indeed, I have harvested several scarlet toadstools, which can serve as a substitute for the core material of a typical qi-inducing pill, allowing us to refine a superior one. Once we gather all the necessary herbs, channeling qi into your body and stepping into the qi refinement realm should pose no significant challenges, Han Yi assured her. If that is the case, I shall rely on you, my husband, Lu Wei responded. Rest assured, Sister Lu Wei, you will undoubtedly elevate your cultivation, Han Yi affirmed. Upon hearing his words, Lu Wei nodded in agreement. Before long, Han Yi soared through the skies on his sword, arriving at the Han family estate. At that moment, chaos reigned within the Han household, suggesting that something dire had transpired. Observing the scene, Han Yi noticed that numerous members of the Han family bore injuries, as if a fierce battle had occurred prior. Exchanging a glance with Lu Wei, they promptly entered the estate. Soon, Han Yi encountered the family steward, Han Shuang. The rotund steward resembled a short, plump figure. Steward Han Shuang, what has transpired? Han Yi inquired. Startled by Han Yi's return, Han Shuang exclaimed, Young master, you have returned. Of course, as the young master of the Han family, I must return to alleviate any troubles affecting our clan, Han Yi replied. Young master, family matters should be handled by the family. Now that you are back, please take the time to rest, Han Shuang insisted. Steward, that is not how it should be. Please, enlighten me about what has occurred. Who has harmed the members of my family? It cannot be the Pan family once more? Han Yi questioned, fully aware that the Pan family had been the source of trouble for the Han family over the years. Young master, it is not the Pan family, Han Shuang clarified. If it is not the Pan family, then what other clan has dared to act against us? Han Yi pressed. The only nearby cultivation families that matched the strength of the Pan family were those of comparable stature to the Han family. Usually, larger cultivation families looked down upon the Han family's trivial matters. Thus, Han Yi assumed that besides the Pan family, no other clan would dare to trouble them. It is the Mu family, Han Shuo revealed. The Mu family? Is there a family by that name within the outer sect? Han Yi asked, intrigued. The Mu family has recently emerged as a prominent sect of cultivators in the outer gates, within the vicinity of our Han family. Two formidable foundation-establishing experts have arisen within their ranks. They acquired a spiritual vein in Luoxia town, situated near our Han estate, and subsequently relocated their entire household there. Upon their arrival, the Mu family adopted a strategy of forging distant alliances while attacking nearby foes. They have now aligned themselves with the Pan family, and at their behest, launched an offensive against one of our medicinal gardens. Our people rushed to defend it, yet not only did we lose the garden, but we also suffered significant losses. Steward Han Shuo shook his head in dismay. And what of my grandfather? Han Yi inquired. Han Yi's grandfather, Han Huai, is a fifth-tier foundation-establishing expert and the sole cultivator of such standing within the Han family. It is due to grandfather Han Huai's presence that the Han family has managed to maintain its esteemed position among the outer sect families of the Hantian Sword sect. The old master was ambushed by the Pan family over a month ago due to the gold vein in Qingsang town and sustained severe internal injuries. He has been recuperating ever since, rendering him unable to manage family affairs, Han Shuo explained. This detestable Mu family. If grandfather cannot intervene, then I shall take matters into my own hands. Han Yi declared. Young master, you must remain calm. Do not act impulsively. If you do, you may fall into the traps laid by the Mu family, Han Shuo cautioned. Young master, it is imperative that you exercise restraint, Lu Wei added from the side. I would never act rashly. If I were to do so, it would only be after I have reached the foundation establishment stage, Han Yi asserted. Foundation establishment? Han Shuo was momentarily taken aback. Young master, reaching foundation establishment is no easy feat. Your current priority should be to enhance your cultivation, aiming for the qi refinement stage first. Upon hearing Han Shuo's words, Han Yi could not help but smile. Utilizing the concealment technique, Han Yi masked his cultivation level, making it exceedingly difficult for anyone to discern his true strength. At that moment, Han Shuo continued, Young master, You should go visit the old master. He recently paid a visit to the Luo family and mentioned that he has arranged a marriage for you. Chapter 27. The old master's intentions. Han Yi felt a surge of excitement at steward Han Shua's words. As a transmigrator, he found the marriage customs of this world quite appealing. In this society, it is entirely customary for men to have multiple wives and concubines, a notion that is widely accepted by both genders. Han Yi had long awaited his coming of age. As the scion of a prominent family, it is only fitting that he should take multiple partners to ensure the continuation of the Han lineage and to increase progeny. However, the thought of his betrothed being from the Luo family filled Han Yi with a tinge of doubt. Engaged to the Luo family? He pondered, furrowing his brow. The Luo family, like the Han family, is also a prominent clan within the outer sect of the Consorts sect, and for millennia, the two families have enjoyed numerous intermarriages. It could be said that the Luo and Han families share a deep-rooted friendship. Yet, as both families evolved, the Luo family flourished while the Han family began to decline, leading to a cessation of their interactions and even their intermarriages. Han Yi was well aware of the historical ties that once bound the Luo and Han families. Han Yi was acutely aware that the Luo family held the Han family in disdain. Thus, he found it perplexing that, after decades of estrangement, his grandfather had established contact with the Luo family and arranged such a marriage for him, a young lady from the Luo family, no less. Indeed, it is a young lady from the Luo family, Han Shua remarked. I see, Han Yi nodded thoughtfully. Within the Consorts sect, it was indeed vital for various noble families to consolidate their standings through strategic marriages. Han Yi began to grasp his grandfather's intentions. Perhaps his grandfather sought to fortify their ties with the Luo family through this union, thereby securing their assistance against the Pan family. However, Han Yi harbored doubts about the reliability of this plan, for if the Luo family were truly inclined to assist, they would not need to be solicited. Soon, under the guidance of steward Han Shua, Han Yi arrived at a courtyard where his grandfather was recuperating. His grandfather, Han Huai, was currently meditating in the courtyard, harmonizing his energy. Upon hearing the commotion, he opened his eyes. Master, the young master has returned. Steward Han Shua announced. Ah, I see, Han Huai replied, turning his gaze towards Han Yi and inquiring, Han Yi, where have you been all this time? Grandfather, I merely ventured out for a bit of experience. It was nothing substantial, Han Yi explained. It may be nothing to you. But do you realize what has transpired in the Han family during your absence of over a month? Han Huai pressed. Grandfather, I am aware. The Pan family launched a surprise attack on Qingsang town, seizing our gold mine there. They also incited the Mu family to assail our medicinal garden, putting our Han family in a precarious position, Han Yi recounted. It is good that you know this. Currently, our Han family is beset on all sides. If we cannot find a solution, our family is fated to face destruction. Many noble families have risen and fallen in the outer sect of the Consorts sect, and I do not wish for our Han family to meet its end at the hands of our own generation, Han Huai declared. Grandfather, I understand. Rest assured, I will strive diligently. Our Han family shall not face annihilation, Han Yi vowed. It is preferable if you adhere to your words, but given the present situation, the family cannot rely solely on you. We are in dire straits. Thus, I have been compelled to seek assistance. The Luo family, being our former allies, may make it easier for us to confront the Pan family if they lend their support, Han Huai stated. Grandfather, Steward Han Shua has informed me that you wish for our Han family to enter into a marriage alliance with the Luo family, and that this matter has already been settled, Han Yi remarked. It is good that you are aware. I have only the best intentions, Han Huai replied. Yet, grandfather, I find this plan rather dubious, Han Yi expressed. What is dubious about it? Han Huai inquired. While our Han family once stood strong in alliance with the Luo family, we have since fallen into decline. They are unlikely to regard us as equals now. Such a marriage alliance may merely signify that grandfather has granted the Luo family some favor, Han Yi posited. Upon hearing this, Han Huai let out a long sigh and remarked, our Han family finds itself in an inextricable predicament. We are at odds with the Pan family, who are relentlessly aggressive and harbor intentions to annihilate us. Recently, I suffered a treacherous ambush by the Pan family, leaving me gravely wounded, and I fear it may be quite some time before I fully recover. Without my presence as a pillar of support, the Pan family will inevitably come for us. Thus, I propose a union with the Luo family. Their strength could serve as a deterrent against the Pan family. This is the only way we can continue to exist within this outer sect. Otherwise, our family will surely be expelled. The Consorts sect boasts a multitude of outer disciples and numerous outer clans. These clans occupy regions adjacent to the sect and are required to pay a certain amount of spirit crystals annually to seek the sect's protection. However, this protection is limited to external threats. As for conflicts among the outer clans, the sect typically remains indifferent and refrains from intervention. particularly in the case of smaller families like ours. Consequently, the strife among these outer clans exhibits a brutal survival of the fittest dynamic. Over the countless years, some clans have risen, others have fallen, and some have faded into obscurity. At this moment, Han Huai, as the head of the Han family, harbors a sense of foreboding. Firstly, the lineage of the Han family has dwindled. Secondly, there are no formidable figures to assert control within the family. Thirdly, the ongoing skirmishes with the Pan family over the past decades have resulted in significant casualties on our side. Han Yi's parents perished in battles against the Pan family. This time, Han Huai has been severely injured. He feels that if he does not take action, the Han family will ultimately face complete annihilation. Upon hearing his grandfather's words, Han Yi sighed deeply and inquired, "But grandfather, the Luo family has become increasingly arrogant. How could they possibly agree to continue a union with us?" "As long as the stakes are sufficient, the Luo family will acquiesce," Han Huai replied. "What stakes?" Han Yi questioned. "Our Han family was once formidable. We possess certain hidden assets that are now overdue for revelation to salvage our family," Han Huai stated. Hearing this, Han Yi furrowed his brow. He was aware that the Han family had indeed once been powerful, yet he was oblivious to the nature of these hidden assets. Perhaps others in the family were equally uninformed, with only the core's senior members privy to such knowledge. "Grandfather, what exactly are these core assets?" Han Yi asked. "Han Yi, you are a descendant of the Han family, yet your character is still maturing. Many matters of the family are not something a junior like you should concern yourself with. However, given the imminent peril facing our family, I shall divulge some information," Han Huai replied. Despite Han Huai's concerns, a smirk of amusement crossed Han Yi's mind. He believed that by vanquishing the 4 tigers of the Pan family and the second family head, Pan Chang, in the Qingsang mountain range, he had already eliminated a significant threat to the Han family. Han Yi believed that with Pan Chang's death, the Pan family had suffered a significant blow, and henceforth, the members of the Pan family would undoubtedly act with greater caution. At the very least, they would likely become more subdued. However, should Han Yi convey these thoughts to Han Huai, it was uncertain whether Han Huai would believe him. Thus, Han Yi chose not to elaborate further. Yet, witnessing Han Huai's deep concern for the Han family, Han Yi felt a twinge of sympathy. Chapter 28. The shock of the elder of the Han family at that moment. Han Huai remarked, "In the glory days of our Han family, we had 5 formidable cultivators in the foundation establishment stage, and over 100 peak Qi refinement experts. Back then, we were considered a moderately powerful family in the outer sect. Now, however, our Han family has fallen into decline, with only myself, a mere 3rd-tier foundation establishment cultivator, left to uphold the family, and fewer than 5 peak Qi refinement practitioners remaining. Our Han family has truly reached a state of complete decline. Grandfather, there is no need for such lamentation. I firmly believe that our Han family will regain its former strength," Han Yi replied. "Your sentiments are not misplaced, Han Yi. And I too hope for our Han family to rise again. Yet, we must confront reality. Our current alliance with the Luo family, which is ostensibly a marriage arrangement, is, in truth, a quest for their protection. The Luo family now boasts 5 cultivators in the foundation establishment stage, and they are poised to ascend to the ranks of the foremost families in the outer sect. With the Luo family's support, the Pan family will think twice before acting against us," Han Huai stated. "Grandfather, pray tell, what have you offered the Luo family as a betrothal gift?" Han Yi inquired. Han Huai nodded and explained, "It is a secret realm, one that produces a copious amount of spirit-infused grass throughout the year. Our Han family once thrived thanks to that very secret realm." Spirit-infused grass? Han Yi furrowed his brow. Although he lacked profound knowledge of medicinal materials, he possessed the memories of the venerable Ning Yue, a polymath well-versed in alchemy and herbs. With Ning Yue's legacy, Han Yi found no difficulty in identifying medicinal materials or concocting elixirs. Upon hearing about the spirit-infused grass, Han Yi quickly comprehended its significance. This grass was a crucial ingredient for crafting the Gathering Qi pill. With an ample supply of spirit-infused grass and a perfect formula for the Gathering Qi pill, a family could rise to prominence. Now at the 3rd tier of Qi refinement, Han Yi realized that to continue his advancement, he would likely need to refine some high-quality Phoenix Gathering Qi pills. The availability of spirit-infused grass would facilitate the process of condensing the Gathering Qi pill. However, upon learning that Han Huai intended to offer the family's core industry as a dowry to the Luo family, Han Yi felt overwhelmed and deemed his grandfather's decision somewhat irrational. Yet, upon further reflection, he recognized that his grandfather's actions were not unreasonable. In times of crisis, it is entirely natural for a family to sacrifice its own interests for the sake of self-preservation. Spirit-infused grass is indeed the core material for refining the Gathering Qi pill, and it is a remarkably rare herb, Han Huai continued. Grandfather, with such a medicinal resource, our Han family could regain its strength. Han Yi exclaimed. Han Yi, what are you pondering? Our Han family does not possess any knowledge of alchemy. At best, we merely exchange these spirit herbs for a few pills, sighed Han Huai. Grandfather, if I were to say that I have an understanding of alchemy, would you believe me? Han Yi inquired. You, a mere child, comprehend alchemy? What jest is this? You are but at the 7th level of body refining. I harbor no expectations of you, only hoping that you may possess a good spiritual root to strengthen our Han family in the future, although you have yet to reach the 9th level of body refining, making it impossible to test your spiritual root. Someone once foretold that you are likely to possess a heavenly fire attribute spiritual root. If you truly awaken this fire attribute in the future, you shall become the hope of our Han family. Han Huai remarked. Grandfather, there are certain matters I wish for you to know. Recently, I have encountered some fortuitous events and have already entered the Qi refinement stage. As for the nature of my spiritual root, it should now be testable, Han Yi stated. What? You have had a fortuitous encounter and have reached the Qi refinement stage? Han Huai exclaimed in astonishment. Indeed, I have now stepped into the Qi refinement stage, Han Yi affirmed. In an instant, Han Yi focused his thoughts, and a surge of energy emanated from his body. Han Huai sensed this aura and was taken aback. To his astonishment, Han Yi had indeed entered the Qi refinement stage. And what shocked him the most was that Han Yi's cultivation was not merely at the 1st level of Qi refinement, but rather at the 3rd level. You have attained the 3rd level of Qi refinement? Han Huai was utterly astonished. The path of cultivation is fraught with challenges. For a practitioner, drawing Qi into the body is an exceedingly arduous task. Each advancement in the Qi refinement stage is incredibly difficult. The fact that Han Yi had reached the 3rd level in such a short span of time was beyond imagination. Grandfather, you are correct. I have indeed reached the 3rd level of Qi refinement. Moreover, I believe that my abilities will allow our Han family to grow strong, Han Yi declared. Han Huai found it hard to believe that Han Yi had reached the 3rd level of Qi refinement. Yet, the evidence was undeniable. After a prolonged silence and careful observation, he finally accepted that Han Yi had indeed attained the 3rd level. Excellent. Truly, you are a descendant of the Han family. Now that you have reached the Qi refinement stage, do you know what kind of spiritual root you possess? Han Huai inquired. Grandfather, I may disappoint you. I do not possess a heavenly spiritual root, but rather a dual wood and fire spiritual root. Han Yi replied. Haha, a dual wood and fire spiritual root is splendid. Wood nourishes fire, and as the fire grows stronger, if you can properly harness your spiritual root, it will be no less than a heavenly fire attribute root. Han Huai chuckled. Indeed, not only does Han Yi possess a dual wood and fire spiritual root, but he also harbors a formidable physique known as the Soul-devouring Demon Flame body. Han Yi was aware of this through the memories of the venerable Ning Yue. At this moment, Han Huai sensed Han Yi's body again, and, upon confirming the nature of his spiritual root, nodded in approval. In the realm of cultivation, the probability of possessing a heavenly spiritual root is exceedingly low, and the occurrence of a dual spiritual root is equally rare. Therefore, the presence of both wood and fire spiritual roots in Han Yi brings great comfort to Han Huai. However, as Han Huai examines Han Yi's physique, he remains unaware that Han Yi also possesses a fire attribute constitution. Grandfather, you must believe me now. I have encountered a fortuitous event, though I cannot divulge the details. Han Yi stated. Not even to your grandfather? Han Huai inquired. Certainly not. Han Yi nodded affirmatively. Well, if you prefer to remain silent, so be it. In this world of cultivation, one must respect the fateful encounters of others. You have your own destiny, and it is not for others to interfere, Han Huai remarked. Then, Grandfather, do you believe that I can refine medicinal pills? Han Yi asked. That seems rather implausible, Han Huai replied, furrowing his brow and shaking his head. If you do not believe, just wait and see, Han Yi declared. Returning to the Han family, Han Yi hoped to strengthen their lineage. Thus, he felt it prudent to share these matters with Han Huai, allowing his grandfather to be mentally prepared. Chapter 29. The old patriarch's speculations at that moment. Han Yi smiled gently and said, Grandfather, there is one more thing I must discuss with you. What is it? Han Huai asked. Indeed. There is no need for our Han family to overly concern ourselves with the Pan family, Han Yi replied. No need for concern? Han Huai questioned, bewildered. To spare you the details, Grandfather, the 4 tigers of the Pan family and Pan Chong have recently perished. Their strength has significantly diminished. And I believe the Pan family will remain relatively subdued for the time being, Han Yi explained. What? The 4 tigers and Pan Chong are dead? Han Huai exclaimed in shock. Indeed, Han Yi affirmed. How did they meet their demise? Han Huai pressed. Grandfather, suffice it to say they are no longer among the living. You may investigate, but some matters I cannot clarify, Han Yi responded. Even in the presence of his grandfather, Han Yi felt reluctant to elaborate on his own actions, believing that any explanation would be met with skepticism. After all, It seemed implausible for Han Yi alone to confront a group of Pan family members, especially those who included foundational cultivators. As Han Hui absorbed Han Yi's words, he mused, "My grandson claims to have encountered a fortuitous event. Could it be that he has crossed paths with a remarkable individual who has guided him? Or perhaps someone of great stature has taken an interest in his spiritual roots and wishes to take him as a disciple, thus aiding our Han family in dealing with the Pan clan?" Han Hui considered the situation and found it to be reasonable. Moreover, in the world of cultivation, many reclusive sages prefer to remain hidden from view. He thought that pressing his grandson for details might breach a taboo. Thus, Han Hui refrained from further inquiry and stated, "Han Yi, I will conduct my own investigation. If the 4 tigers of the Pan family and Pan Shang are indeed deceased, our Han family will undoubtedly find relief, and we shall have fewer worries moving forward. Grandfather, please trust me. I truly have encountered an extraordinary fate, and I have even learned the art of alchemy. It is unfortunate, however, that you intend to bestow our family's secret realm to the Luo family," Han Yi expressed. This revelation left Han Hui momentarily stunned. He pondered, if his grandson were indeed fortunate enough to meet a master and had genuinely acquired the ability to concoct elixirs, including the Qi-gathering pill, then relinquishing their precious spirit-concealing realm to the Luo family would indeed be a grave error. "Grandfather, is it possible to call off the engagement?" Han Yi inquired. "Call off the engagement?" Han Hui shook his head in disbelief and replied, "I have already finalized arrangements with the Luo family. It would be exceedingly difficult to retract our agreement. But grandfather, although our families have shared a bond in the past, times have changed. The Luo family grows increasingly powerful while our Han family remains weak. Even if we exchange a secret realm for a marriage alliance, the Luo family may not regard us with the respect we deserve," Han Yi argued. "Indeed," Han Hui acknowledged, "if I had any other choice, I would not have pursued this course of action. I have already solidified our agreement with the Luo family. To backtrack now would likely incite their wrath. Should they retaliate, our Han family might not withstand the repercussions. Then who is the Luo family woman I am to marry, and what is her level of cultivation?" Han Yi asked. "The young lady from the Luo family who is to become your bride is named Luo Qin, the daughter of the Luo patriarch," Han Hui replied. "Is Luo Qin not a legitimate daughter of the Luo family?" Han Yi queried. "She is a daughter born of a concubine," Han Hui confirmed. "I suspected as much. The Luo family would hardly marry their legitimate daughters into a family like ours," Han Yi remarked. "Nevertheless, Luo Qin possesses commendable talents. She has a tri-elemental spiritual root and has reached the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Furthermore, she has successfully passed the outer sect disciple examination," Han Hui informed him. "Very well," Han Yi nodded. Upon hearing this, a sigh escaped him. Fortunately, there was still time before the wedding preparations commenced. Hence, Han Yi planned to venture into the secret realm to procure some spirit herbs. In doing so, he aimed to refine the Phoenix and Fenghuang Qi-gathering pill without difficulty. Han Yi had inherited the memories and teachings of the venerable Master Ning Yue, whose most esteemed cultivation method was the dual cultivation of the Phoenix and Fenghuang harmonization technique. This technique possessed a unique trait. Practicing it with different women would yield distinct insights. This realization led Han Yi to consider that marrying multiple wives might indeed be justifiable. Yet, he wondered about the beauty of the woman named Luo Qin. At that moment, Han Yi also shared with Han Hui the matter of Lu Wei. While Han Hui was not entirely supportive of Han Yi's desire to wed a servant as his wife, he felt it was too late to voice his objections. Han Hui merely wished that Han Yi would not allow this to interfere with his impending marriage to Luo Qin. Upon returning to the Han family, Han Yi settled in. He had now reached the 3rd level of the Qi refinement realm, and alchemy had become his utmost priority. It was imperative for him to elevate his cultivation level. Thus, Han Yi is now fervently eager to refine the Phoenix and Dragon Body refinement pill. Simultaneously, he hopes that Lu Wei can break through to the Qi refinement stage. Should Lu Wei reach this level, it would undoubtedly accelerate Han Yi's future cultivation progress. The following day, under the guidance of Han Hui, Han Yi ventured to a secret realm where the spirit-gathering herb was said to flourish. Indeed, he successfully collected several of these precious herbs. With the spirit-gathering herb, he would have no trouble concocting the ordinary Phoenix and Dragon-gathering pill. Next, Han Yi accompanied Lu Wei to Frostfall City, one of the 10 major cities of the outer sect of the Shattering Sky Sword sect, a place where immortals and mortals coexist. The city teems with bustling marketplaces and shops. The Han family operates a small establishment in Frostfall City. Unlike certain cultivation families, the Han clan does not possess extensive knowledge of various immortal techniques, alchemy, talisman crafting, or weapon forging. Therefore, the Han shop primarily sells various materials collected from secret realms, which are useful for crafting weapons, concocting pills, and creating talismans or puppets. Any valuable materials are brought here for sale. Most of these resources were acquired by Han family members during their adventures, while some were obtained from secret realms under their control. The Han shop is managed by Han Yi's 13th uncle, Han Mo. In pursuit of elevating the Han family, Han Yi's grandfather fathered numerous sons, and Han Mo is naturally the 13th son of Han Huai. Upon hearing of Han Yi's arrival in Frostfall City, Han Mo immediately brought his 3 lovely wives to greet him. Although Han Mo has reached the 9th level of the body refinement stage, he possesses a mixed spiritual root of 5 elements, preventing him from drawing qi into his body. Consequently, he contentedly took on the role of shopkeeper as arranged by the family. Of course, aside from managing the shop, Han Mo bears a significant responsibility to carry on the family line and ensure the continuation of their heritage, which is why he has taken several wives. For Han Mo, the inability to progress to the qi refinement stage and cultivate immortality is indeed a source of disappointment. However, having multiple beautiful wives accompanying him in this life is a wonderful blessing. Chapter 30. Requesting uncle's assistance in gathering herbs. Upon seeing Han Mo beamed with joy. My dear nephew, I have heard that you have successfully passed the examination for outer sect disciples. Truly, this is a cause for celebration. He exclaimed. Ah, uncle. It is you who should be congratulated for marrying a new wife, replied Han with a smile. My dear nephew, marrying wives is merely a mundane affair, not worth mentioning. Your achievement in becoming an outer sect disciple of the Shattering Sky Sword sect holds the potential to elevate our Han family. Han Mo responded. Uncle, I believe that if given the opportunity, it would be splendid to follow your example and take several wives. Han remarked. My dear nephew, you must not entertain such thoughts. You are the hope and future of the Han family. When you were born, the old master had your spiritual roots calculated, and it was foretold that you might awaken a fire attribute spiritual root. You cannot stray from the righteous path, Han Mo exclaimed. Upon hearing Han Mo's words, Han could not help but smile wryly. Han did not possess a fire attribute spiritual root. Fortunately, his spiritual roots were not too shabby, and with them, the Han family might still grow strong. Uncle, I have come to Luan Shuang City to seek certain herbs. Please assist me, Han said, producing a piece of paper. This paper listed over 30 types of herbs. Some were for the common gathering qi pill, others for the phoenix gathering qi pill, and a few were for the inducing qi pill. Han currently possessed the core materials for the spiritual essence grass and the red toad grass, and he believed that finding the remaining herbs would not pose much difficulty. Generally speaking, he should be able to procure the desired herbs in Luan Shuang City. Once he successfully refined the Phoenix Body Refinement Pill, ascending to greater heights in his cultivation should not be a significant challenge. As the manager of Luan Shuang City, Han Mo was well versed in the various herbs Han presented. Looking at the list, he inquired, Han, what do you intend to do with these herbs? Uncle, why do you ask? Just tell me whether these herbs are easy to find, Han replied. Ah, Han, to be frank, I am not well versed in herbs, but I do have some knowledge of the materials for the inducing qi pill. Many of the herbs you seek belong to that category, do they not? Han Mo responded. Indeed. Han nodded in affirmation. Han, I must confess, although I possess a mixed spiritual root of 5 elements, I have not abandoned the thought of cultivation. If you ever acquire a good inducing qi pill in the future, could you spare one for me? Han Mo asked. Very well. Han nodded again. Are you gathering these herbs to enlist someone to assist you in refining the pills? Han Mo inquired. Initially, Han planned to refine the pills himself, but he wished to keep a low profile. Even his grandfather hoped that Han would possess dual spiritual roots, urging caution to avoid revealing his true self. Han understood that within a family, the emergence of any alchemist might not attract much attention. However, should a formidable alchemist arise, it would undoubtedly draw scrutiny upon the family. With the memories of the esteemed Ning Yue, the pills he would eventually refine would surely be of superior quality. Thus, if Han were to act too ostentatiously, he would inevitably attract attention. Should anyone suspect him of being Ning Yue, his fate would be sealed. Therefore, Han must proceed with utmost caution in all his dealings. Even before his relatives, what he could conceal, he would strive to keep hidden. At present, Han Chao nodded to Han Mo and remarked, Indeed, I have encountered an extraordinary individual who has promised to assist me in concocting both the qi-inducing pill and the gathering qi pill, provided that I prepare the necessary medicinal materials. Upon hearing this, Han Mo could not contain his excitement. If that is the case, it would be splendid. The materials you require are not difficult to procure. I only hope that should you succeed in obtaining a fine qi-inducing pill, you will not forget your uncle. He said. Rest assured, uncle, Han replied. Subsequently, Han Mo busied himself with his 3 wives to gather the medicinal ingredients for Han. After approximately half an hour, his wives returned, each reporting on the status of the materials they had collected. Following their general briefing, Han Imo approached Han Yi and said, "Nephew Han Yi, do you see how efficiently we work? The efficiency of your 3 ants is indeed commendable," Han Yi acknowledged. "However, we have only acquired most of the required materials. We are still missing one crucial item, the tiger tooth vine. This vine is one of the core ingredients for the qi-inducing pill and typically grows in areas inhabited by the blood-toothed tiger demon beasts. Thus, obtaining the tiger tooth vine entails considerable risk. In the shops of Frostfall City, should this vine appear, it is likely to be snatched up immediately. Therefore, if you wish to acquire the tiger tooth vine, it may take some time. However, I have connections with the major shops here. If the tiger tooth vine is available, I should be able to assist you in procuring it," Han Imo explained. "Uncle, if that is the case, I would be most grateful for your help," Han Yi replied. "What is this? You are my nephew, the hope of the Han family. Anything I can do for you is worthwhile," Han Imo asserted. Hearing this, Han Yi took a deep breath. Now, most of the medicinal materials had been gathered, with only the tiger tooth vine remaining. This vine is essential for refining the qi-inducing pill. Hence, should Han Yi wish to forge the qi-inducing pill to assist Lu Wei in entering the qi refinement stage, he would likely need some additional time. After Han Yi had Han Imo help him gather the materials, he courteously remarked, "Uncle, these materials must have cost quite a bit of spirit crystals. Nephew, as I have said, you are the hope of the Han family. Anything I do for you is worthwhile. However, when you engage someone to concoct the pills, do not forget your uncle should you obtain a fine qi-inducing pill," Han Imo replied. In response, Han Yi nodded. The collection of medicinal materials was intended for the refinement of the qi-inducing pill and the phoenix-gathering qi pill. Moreover, based on the memories and teachings from Ancestor Ning Yue, Han Yi was confident that crafting superior-grade pills would not pose a significant challenge. Thus, it would not be an issue for Han Yi to present Han Imo with a high-quality qi-inducing pill eventually. Han Imo possessed a mixed spiritual root of 5 elements, which could be deemed the lowest grade of spiritual roots. Generally speaking, such mixed spiritual roots lack purity, making it quite challenging to draw in qi and embark on the path of cultivation. This also explains why Han Imo had consumed numerous qi-inducing pills without success in attracting qi. Han Yi firmly believes that if his uncle were to possess a high-quality qi induction pill, the process of channeling qi into his body would not pose a significant challenge. However, advancing further on the path of cultivation would undoubtedly prove to be more arduous. Nevertheless, should he attain the qi refinement stage, he would undoubtedly surpass those in the body refinement stage and provide substantial support to the Han family.